Good flipping afternoon, everybody. It is 2:04 and it is warm. We got some fun to be had today. I don't care what anybody says. I'm having fun today. It's Friday. We got the Raiders coming into the house thinking that they're going to be something this year. Nah. We'll see how we're going to beat them. And we're going to talk about playoffs.
Of releasing, using their footwork, and I think there's another level of understanding of the timing of our offense based upon the challenging looks they've gotten, and I think that overall it's forced our team to get better across the board, which I think is an overall win for our entire motives this offseason has been finding ways to get better during the season so that our best football is at the end when it matters most.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Mike McDaniel lending further credence to the idea that I have that this whole season's been about coaching. And it continues to be. And we're going to find out in the next couple of weeks whether we've turned that corner or not. Because Mike McDaniel has to expect execution at the highest level if he's ever to hope to achieve anything in this league. And convincing the players of that is his first and foremost job. And so, you know, we'll talk about what's changed. We'll talk about what hasn't, but I firmly believe that the keys to beating teams like Green Bay in the cold in their house, Cleveland in the cold in their house, playoff games in the cold. The key to beating all of that is the same as it is the key to beating every other team. And some of those keys we've seen vast improvements on, yes, in just a couple games. But I would argue that that's what this whole season's been about. And McDaniel keeps repeating it. We're going to go through his whole presser from today. It's kind of short, but boring. But I gotta call out the beat writers today. We got more problems with the beat writers than we do with Mike McDaniel when it comes to these press conferences and the nature of them. I gotta show y'all what I'm talking about. We're gonna get into all that, but first we're gonna talk about Raiders and Dolphins. We'll catch you up to speed on what's going on around the league. And then we're going to have some fun. I don't care what anybody says, and that leads to the poll question for today. Yo, I'm going to have to speed it up, Aqua. I might even go two speed today because the man spends 8 minutes. Look, I set out this morning to go to breakfast, put on my backpack to grab a couple things at the grocery store. And I thought, wow, oh, look, Mike McDaniel's live. That's something good to listen to on my walk. That'll make the walk go by quick. And I got all the way to the Dunkin' Donuts. And this man was still talking about one question. And we'll get into what that question was. Hit the like button. Make sure you stick around to find out what I'm talking about. Flava J in the building, first one today. How you doing? Chef Jew, of course, the ambassador and Aquavision. Dark Sith Lord, we see y'all. Carla's in here first thing today. And Lance, I see you, Pete. Pete, who is once again reversed gears. Doesn't believe in any of it. I don't blame him. But I also think that we're going to find out there's a fine line between plausibility and possibility. You could say that in this world, just about anything's possible. However, not likely. However, not probable. But there's possible, there's probable, and then there's plausible. And I think anybody that's been watching the NFL for longer than 10 or 15 years knows that just about anything is plausible. We as fans come up with any scenario we have to keep going. Look at the Dallas fans. They're the most ridiculous of them all. No offense to the great one in the back, who finally updated the last half of my intro. Cool, we got Tua and McDaniel now instead of Fangio popping in. Appreciate that, HB. Everybody, give a shout out to HB. Does all of our technical work, graphics, all of that. Provided the lovely color commentary sailboat that you're looking at that I'm chilling in right now in Biscayne Bay. It's the command center of color commentary. If you go out there, if you look out your window, if you're in that building right there on the job, look out your window, you'll see the sailboat. That's me. I'm waving. Anyway, there are a whole bunch of things that are plausible. And when Finsanity broke for us all via Miss Finn's channel a couple days ago that the playoff machine was up on ESPN. They didn't put their link up, but you could Google it and go to it. Now the link's there. You can go to ESPN and play with it yourself. It's always fun. The playoff virtualizer, predictor extraordinaire. So I've been messing around with it. And I have found some very, very interesting things. Things we've said all along, that the current state of the NFL is horrible. We can't just blame ourselves. And because of that, going forward, the season started Monday for just about everybody. Some teams have to have a better run than others. But there's a whole bunch of teams that are on the brink right now. It ain't just the Miami Dolphins. And the encouraging thing to me, the reason that I'm going full homer today, that's the poll question, by the way. Hit the like button and hit the poll question. You know the rules around here. We only got 9 likes so far. Y'all are really slacking, as we got some members coming in the building now. Ms. Relentless, I see you. Good afternoon. Jersey Dolphins. And of course, Nene just pulled in too. What kind of poll is this? That's what I'm getting to right now, Nene. So you'll notice the poll. The rule is, the honor rule here is you got to hit the like button before you vote in the poll. So 7 people so far have broken the rule. 17 of you have voted. Is it time to fan up? You know, like man up instead it's fan up. Is it time to fan up? Well, we're going to get into that with the playoff machine later. We're going to find out just what time it is. So is it time, do you think, is it time to fan up? Are you going full homer? Is it time to go full homer? Is it time to, or are we just all being fools and running an only fools site here? And the third option is, this tank needs some grease. We're all chilling in this tank and it's starting to get a little rusty. I, for one, I'm going full homer today, at least. I may find out that I have to run an only fools site, but I'll never be in the tank. That thing can rust away and whatever, seize up, sit there, get taken out. I don't care. But that's the question of the day. Is it time to fan up? Are you going full homer? You running an only fools site, or the tank needs some grease? Get your vote in, and we'll find out. You could also hold off and wait for the playoff machine to get your vote in, because I think you're going to be quite surprised for those that haven't went and checked it out yet. I know a few of you have. I've spoken with some people on Twitter, and some other people have looked at it too, and now seeing the same things I am. Look, what it requires is what it always requires. What does it always require? It requires us to take care of our own business. It requires us to win. According to all the odds, according to all the analysts, the analytics, the bettors, the public, everybody, we should roll right through the Raiders. We're allowed to say that. I've said this to y'all before. We're allowed to say that. The players are not. The players and the coaches and all the staff, they are not allowed to say that. They are not allowed to think that. They need to go in Sunday to Hard Rock and take care of business. Now, I believe as a fan, if we execute at the level we did, even close to the level we did against the Rams Monday night, we should easily beat the Raiders. But we'll get into all that right after y'all hit the like button. We'll start with the slate of games this week. On Sunday last night, you saw Philadelphia take care of Washington fairly easily, 26-18. It wasn't really high scoring till the end, but not sure if Washington ever had any control of that game. Then, of course, Monday you got Green Bay going into Chicago, important divisional matchup there. Jacksonville going into Detroit to get owned. Minnesota going into Tennessee. We'll see if they can get through the easy trap game. Las Vegas Las Vegas will be obviously coming into Hard Rock to face our beloved Miami Dolphins. 1 p.m. You can find that on CBS locally or in Las Vegas area. Los Angeles Rams going up to New England to take on the Patriots. Cleveland going to the Saints. Indianapolis going to the Jets. In an important game for the Miami Dolphins. We'll find out why soon enough. And of course, Baltimore going into Pittsburgh in a huge AFC North matchup between two of the top teams in the AFC right now. Pittsburgh on the rise, Baltimore trying to keep the top spot. Atlanta will be going out to the mountains to face the Denver Broncos. Seattle will be in San Francisco in a AFC West matchup. Kansas City going into Buffalo to see where everybody's at between those two teams. Cincinnati going to Los Angeles to face the Chargers on Sunday night. And of course, Monday night matchup, you have the Texans going over to Dallas to face the Cowboys. The Giants, the Cardinals, the Bucks, and the Panthers are all on the bye this week. And that is the Week 11 slate for this week. And what I think I'm going to do is later on when we start messing around with the playoff machine and we start trying to gather an idea of who's going to win against who in our common opponents, we'll be able to look at the odds and all that. I'll bring up the betting odds and all that. And we can all decide together. But I'm going to show you how it's possible that the Dolphins can already be in the playoffs in the bracket before we even fly out to Green Bay. That's right. That's what I just said. First order of business, get yourself to 5-6. And in order to do that, the Dolphins have to start with the Raiders. We all know they're coming in to Hard Rock. And the tail of the game, since it is Friday, I always go over it on Friday. Tail of the game right now, Vegas, 7-point underdogs. That's been as high as 7.5. Plus 270 on the money line. Miami is minus 340. And the over-under on the game is 43.5. We'll see if it looks the same on Hard Rock. Hard Rock has the Raiders plus 275, the Dolphins minus 350, and the over-under on the game 44. So clearly the public, the bettors, the analysts, ESPN Analytics has the Dolphins winning this game 63.1% of the time. Everything's pointing towards, well, a trap. I mean, what could be a trap? But the type of game that we call a trap. And we just got to go out there like we did last year a bunch of times and prove that the trap does not apply to us. Game time weather, 81 degrees in Miami for tomorrow. I'm sorry, for Sunday. I'm thinking it's Saturday already. I done spent Friday, everybody. I put Friday on credit, I guess. But let's see here. That's the hourly. I don't want hourly. I know what it is right now. Hot. So for Sunday, afternoon temperatures right around 81 degrees. The real feel should be 82, which means the humidity is going to be a low 55%. Oh, that's gorgeous. Wind out of the east-northeast at 12 miles an hour, up to 20-mile-an-hour gusts. Probability of precipitation, 0%, 26% cloud cover. And in the shade on the Dolphins sideline, it'll feel 78 degrees. Partly sunny and pleasant. You know what they call that. That's called football weather in South Florida. Going to be absolutely beautiful. What's on Netflix tonight? Is that the Mike Tyson fight, Aqua? I guess I could. I think I have a Netflix. Somebody in my family has a Netflix account I can probably log into. Yeah, I guess I'll watch that nonsense. I actually think the old man's going to take him out pretty handily. I don't think you lose those abilities. Now, I understand the body doesn't feel the same, so he'll just have to make sure he don't take a shot. I bet he's quick enough still. You ain't never seen one of those old men in the street, the old former boxers in the street just working them kids, man? Come on. I'm still going with the old man. I don't ever doubt Tyson. Gardner Minshew on the season will be the starter for the Raiders. 148 for 221 on 221 attempts for 1,501 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Of course, Tua is 113 completions for 156 attempts, 1,155 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Madison, their ball carrier, 92 carries for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. Devon Achane getting the work for us, 105 carries, 457 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The big tight end over there, their best receiver, 57 receptions for 580 yards and 2 tutties. On our side, the questionable Tyreek Hill, 37 receptions, 462 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We'll look to get him involved quite a bit on a gorgeous day tomorrow. Quick injury report, which should be updated by the Dolphins by the end of today. They have backup tight end or tight end 2, Harrison Bryant's questionable. Cody Whitehair, questionable. I wonder what color his hair is. Nate Hobbs, questionable. Michael Meyer, he's on injured reserve. And Andre James, their center, is questionable. On our side, Kendall Fuller will be out. Still, I believe in concussion protocol. I'm not sure. Julian Hill, questionable. Tyreek Hill, questionable with the wrist. Jalen Ramsey turning up on the report with a hurt knee in practice today. Now questionable for the game. And, of course, Isaiah Wynn still on the PUP. We'll find out if McDaniel has anything to say about that. Raiders in their last 5 games have lost all 5. The Dolphins, on the other hand, are 2-3 in their last 5. Winning against the Rams on Monday night pretty handily. So there's the tail of the game right there. Seems like Miami just needs to execute their game plan on offense and defense. Everybody knows we'll be working with a new guy coming in the building. Working behind Anthony Walker. We'll hear what Coach Weaver has to say about that too. I'm going to run his press conference through. Always love when that high class individual speaks. Helps us feel a little more encouraged. So we're going to get into Mike McDaniel's presser really quick because I want to get into this playoff machine action. It's some fun stuff. We'll wrap it up on a short Friday because we got Shake Money tonight on the drive time, heading back to Hard Rock finally with the drive time. Open panel. Y'all can say whatever you want. Y'all can come up and make fun of me all you want for using the playoff machine. Where's all these Bills fans coming from all of a sudden? Sal, JC, what y'all up to, man? Y'all couldn't. You're like the crowd of bullies that walk around the neighborhood all day because none of them have jobs and none of them go to school. And they're like just, here comes the Bills fans rolling around like they had nothing to do all day. What's up, guys? Hope your day is nice and rainy up there. Other than that, hope all is well. I think Red, White, and Bills is in here too. I haven't seen Michael K. That's usually a good thing. I won't say his name more than 2 more times. Make sure he don't come in. T-Dub, what's up, man? Thanks. Everybody do what T-Dub said. Get the likes up. We got 17 of you liking the channel and the show. 35 viewers right now on YouTube. And 61 across all platforms. I hope y'all are having a wonderful afternoon. The more we hit the like button, the more people get in here to talk to you. The poll of the question of the day, is it time to fan up? You going full homer, only fools, or the tank needs grease? 25 voted so far. That's not enough sample size. We got to get that up. Keep coming. We'll get the hard part out of the way real quick and roast the McDaniel interview. I'm not even going to, the one part that I'm talking about, I'm not even going to play the full thing because you guys will understand. All right, let's see here. The part about, I just got to, these beat writers, I've just had enough. Mock draft show. We don't talk. That's boring talk, JC. Who wants to talk about the draft?
Adjust.
All right, here we go.
Game time adjustments happen. So I appreciate it. What you got?
We'll go rapid fire. So how did Jalen Ramsey sustain the knee injury that surfaced on the injury report yesterday?
There we go, right out the gate on Jalen.
Something that came up during practice. We'll see how it plays out today. Either way, I don't rule out Warriors like he is an integral part of our team. So I know he'll do what he is able to do today, and we'll be optimistic for the game.
Sounds like something could be major, but not major enough, given where we're at right now.
Knowing that if he doesn't play, it's because he can't.
What about Robert Jones?
He had a good day yesterday. Feel optimistic about that for a game.
All right, Robert Jones, possible for game
with Blake Ferguson, McMorris, Wynn. Any in play for Sunday, or all more likely down the line?
I think it's more likely, week by week, but I think that's more likely a possibility in the next coming weeks than this week.
So a no-go on the other guys.
And,
Chubb,
how about
Wynn.
the calf for Alec? I'm sure he wanted to play on Monday. Is he better this week, or do you think he will happen?
No, he's better this week. Again, just making sure that we don't have a setback. He didn't have a setback yesterday, so we're hoping for no setbacks today or tomorrow.
So Alec Ingle look like he's getting back in the mix. That'll be, man, we should roll through this team. Look at this. The whole crew's here now. Sean, JC, Sal. God, man. Get up these likes, man. We need more Dolphin fans in here, man. But I think that the question is coming up next.
And with the David Long thing, just to clarify that.
There's David Long.
I didn't know.
No. Just let the guys know when they can work.
I'm sorry.
They just.
I was just filling awkward space. The Long decision. Did David or his agent David Mulligeta ask you or Chris for his release, or was that purely a team decision?
It was a team decision. I think didn't anticipate. The scenario that came across with Dodson being available. Didn't anticipate that. Absolutely love David Long as a person and a player, but had to make the decision that was best for the Miami Dolphins.
Right. So for whatever reason, the guy is either as good as or a tad better. So when you have a situation where you're trying to show your team who's in charge, it's time to make an example. And it's not that he don't like David Long. It's not that. It's just that when you factor in, when you add up performance, execution, and willingness to be for this team, he said, "Hey, we didn't see this option over here arising. Now that it has, and this guy over here on our team is performing so much better, guess what? You're the guy. Sorry, bro. We love you, but you're out of here." And you always have to be mindful of that, even in your own jobs every day, if you're not giving it your best. If you're that last guy, you might be doing a great job. But if you're that last guy and there's somebody they think perceived could do it better, and they need to make an example, it's going to be that last guy, that weakest link, that's going to go.
And Julian Hill, how's the shoulder? What's the outlook for him?
He had a good day. I'm very optimistic for his participation.
Right. Julian Hill, the question was about.
If he has a setback, I will be yelling at some defensive players during practice. So if you hear my voice, it's because they set Julian back.
Mike, I was thinking about doing something on the power of recall for coaches. And
there we go.
I'm wondering how many plays can you recall? How far back can you recall since 2022 as a head coach? Every play.
Every play.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what our beat writers think is important on a Friday before the game. How many plays do you think you're able to recall since 2022? You know, I thought when I woke up this morning, the very first thing on my mind was, hey, I wonder if I could call up Mike McDaniel and find out just how good his memory is. I just want to know, do you have that ability to remember every single play you've ran in your career? You know, I thought that was the most important thing. I thought, wow, I need to get up. I need to drink some coffee immediately. And I got to get right on the tubes and be like, yo, on the intranets and be like, man, where can I find out how good Mike McDaniel's memory is? I mean, what an absolute, you could say crazy, Sal, but what an absolute total irrelevant question. I mean, what are we trying to do here? What's even the point? And of course, as you're going to find out, first of all, I don't even know why I haven't sped this thing up a little bit. And of course, Mike McDaniel, thanks, El Cap, who's telling us that was Chris Perkins. And of course, Mike McDaniel, far be it for him to miss an opportunity to blather on about total irrelevant shit. So here we go. This went on now. I got all the way to the Dunkin' Donuts before he got done answering this question. And I'm just sitting here wondering, I wonder, it'd be nice to know, things like, how do you feel about, do you see the difference between the way you called the last drive against Arizona or Buffalo as opposed to the way you called the last drive against the Rams when you had a lead. I would think that'd be something I'd ask. And do you look forward to continuing that type of play calling down the road to increase your chances of going on this 7-1 run? That would be my question. But nah, we got to go through this.
In terms of like, are you talking about like, can I
At
recall from
1.5
seasons before?
speed for your pleasure.
I think the toughest time for me to recall something is directly after the game because I'm trying to stay in the moment. So post-game press conferences are always a challenge because I'm changing from in the moment to reflection. But once I see the tape and stuff, there's a good amount of recall, specifically because you're in the same system, and as a play caller, you kind of feel the burden of the result and the whys of that result that kind of stick with you. I think that's part of the advantage of experience and having recall on certain defenses, certain situations, from concepts to how our players perform. It resurfaces itself every single game and every single game prep. But there'll be a play call that I have this game that will be based upon something that I know our players can execute and perform based upon a previous example that's happened since I've been here. So unfortunately, to have one of these positions in the National Football League, you kind of have to be obsessed. And so I don't know how to do a lot of things around the house, and can't recall how to what the cook time is on a hot pocket or something. But I can remember plays for sure.
So last week you guys had 53 plays, right?
Mhm.
How many of those could you recall today? Now that you've seen it, I know.
And he follows it up with, how many of the plays you ran last week do you recall now? Let's keep this going. Now I'm about halfway through my walk to Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm thinking, man, like, it's hot out here. Like, oh God, unbelievable. We're now at a minute 40. He's been answering. This has been going on.
No, you're preparing for a different opponent, but could you recall 42 of them, or?
Yeah, I would say there's, you can recall to the point of the order, pretty much all of them besides maybe like five or 10. I'm not to the extreme of like a Sean McVay that can rattle off the exact time.
And there you go. There's the point of the question. For some reason to bring up Sean McVay. Now, maybe this was a way to get him to say that he outcoached McVay the other night. I don't know. But that's what this was all about. This stupid glorification of these, Finding Nemo freaking sea turtles that think that they're like some kind of great masterminds or something. It's just so ridiculous. And by the way, I gotta read the Hot Pocket label too. That's why it's written on the box, because none of us remember what the cooking time is for a Hot Pocket. There's no, I mean, wow.
And situation and hash. But for the most part, it's important to my job that I do remember things, the succession of them, what opponents have seen, what they've studied. I mean, you have to do it all the time because when it's earned first down on the 35-yard line going in, part of the decision.
Or when it's 2nd and 12 and I got to keep the clock going and I throw the ball to the sideline at 30-yard range.
You're making a play call decision based upon your anticipated defensive play call, which has to do both with what they like to do and what we've done in the past. So it's
and what quarter it is, and what the score is, and how much time is left on the clock.
That's why I'm a terrible conversation on game day.
I know covering golf, golfers can recall, pretty much every stroke. And I wonder if you ever get to the paralysis by analysis point. Do you ever have, when you're recalling down and distance situations and defense?
Yeah, that's when you see us burn a timeout for no reason. That's what it is. That's when the overload occurred, and it took me too long to get the play in. Yeah.
There you go. He suffers from analysis paralysis on the sideline. Yeah, no kidding. Well, again, He obviously remembers every play he calls because in every sequence because that got fixed Monday night. So either he recalls everything and he was going over it in his mind, the game in Arizona, and he's thinking, what the hell was I thinking? Or he listens to my show. Welcome to the show, Mike. We love having you here every day. I'm not trying to insult you by any way or anything. I think you figured it out on your own, but we still appreciate you listening to the show. Hit the like button, Mike, and everybody do what Mike just did. Hit the like button. And I will continue this sleep fest.
On a more serious note,
I think
Thank
that's
you,
pretty serious.
Eric. Thank you for-
have doctors recommend
That took 3.5 minutes out of the press conference. And now I know it only takes me 3.5 minutes to walk to Dunkin' Donuts. Well, that's cool.
with Kendall Fuller because it is a second concussion in 2 months that he missed extended time, like doctors suggested with Tua.
That haven't gotten that feedback. Also don't have a timeline. I do know he was feeling based upon the previous situation where he was at in the timeline. He felt better than he did previously. So henceforth, the medical experts did not feel as though the timeline, whatever that was absolutely necessitating that automatic 4-week out. So it's week to week based upon the advice of the medical experts, as well as the feedback from Kendall and how and what he's feeling, because that's the most important thing.
And Gold, how's he doing?
Well, he's doing well. What does that mean for the game? Today, like soft tissues are particularly with guys that are not on the line of scrimmage but major in blocking, like Alec Ingold, where you have to run before your contact point and come out of your snap with come off the ball with absolute suddenness and stuff. You're always wary of the feedback of the next player, the next outing, or the next practice. So we'll be conservative but prudent to see where he's at. I feel good about him. That kind of makes it 50-50 for me for the game, just based on having 2 more days to get through and where that leads us.
If somebody would have told you back in August that Tyreek and Jalen would have a per game average of 90 yards, what would you have said?
I guess I don't really go into things forecasting. However, I would have found it interesting. I would have thought either two
This
things.
is the interesting part right here.
First and foremost, how our defense is playing us, and they must be giving them a lot of attention. And then I would have thought, how are we executing against those looks? If we're not having production on offense, it's we're not taking advantage of whatever scenarios that are keeping them from getting the ball. And I guess nothing surprised me. I would just be looking at how's the rest of our offense executing, because that's if we're not getting yards from them, yards and points better be coming from somewhere. So I think
yeah, this is what he said right before the part that I played in the opening of the show about. This is what he was talking about. Them doing other things to help facilitate points, even if it's not getting all the flashy numbers. And he even speaks to that here in a second. He actually talks about the numbers.
That's been one of the great things about the adversity from this season, is how instead of doing what a lot of people can and have done that I've seen in the past, where there's dwelling on numerical values that aren't W's and L's. I've seen guys.
That's right. That's exactly. See what I'm saying? That's it. There's only one column to be concerned about. That's the win-loss column. All them other numbers and all that, whatever. And by the way, that's the 5th time now that he's mentioned that adversity will tell him who is who and who is what and who is willing to do what to make sure that W's fall into that column.
Guys get better. I've seen, I think our line of scrimmage play from Tyreek and Waddle is the best that it's been since I've been here, in terms of releasing and using their footwork. And I think there's another level of understanding of the timing of our offense based upon the challenging looks they've gotten. And I think that overall it's forced our team to get better across the board, which I think is an overall win for our entire motives this offseason has been finding ways to get better during the season so that our best football is at the end when it matters most.
Exactly. And this is what I'm saying. If we find ourselves 6-6 leaving Green Bay, then we can have a better understanding about what the debacle of the beginning of this season has been about. And this man deserves 10 more years. It just depends on all depends on what happens and what the players decide to do going forward. This guy is turning out to be like doing this whole process in a sort of quietly brilliant way, if that's what's going on. Again, this is all predicated upon continuing to win the way we have been and getting the job done against the Green Bays of the world in 32-degree temperatures. Because thus far, we have not been able to do that for a long time, dating back to even Marino. So I actually believe, I'm starting to believe that the conversations between him and Ross were, look, one of the things that I need to start doing differently as an owner is supporting my head coach more and giving him a damn chance to assert himself in his way of getting the team to execute. Because in a league where the rules don't allow you to bend the players over your knee and spank them, how else are you supposed to? And the salary situation doesn't allow you to outright cut certain players. How are you supposed to motivate these players as a coach to execute? And you could argue with the differences in what we've been seeing and how we've been playing the past couple games. You could argue that he's finding his way. And so I actually think he's got a way colder seat than we realized. If in fact Ross has given him his full blessing on however he wants to handle this, come what may, wins or losses. Now, all of that could change if we go out Sunday in our home stadium and get embarrassed by the Raiders. All of that could go right back to he could be fired Monday morning. That's up to the players, because it's up to the players to prove him out. It's up to the players to prove Mike McDaniel out. One way or another. It always has been, and it has been, and it will be for every coach forever. And from what I saw Monday night, this team is far from quitting on this coach. Far from it.
Like a general question, you guys had 2 phantom whistles at Seattle. I know it's going way back. I'm wondering, did you turn that into the league? And because I know that won't affect the outcome of the game. If I turned it into the league, it would be so that I knew the league was aware and so that I knew the league would address it. Have you heard from the league? And what is your why when you turn something?
We're the same guy. And by the way, I'm really interested in, I mean, you got some stuff cooking in the hopper here with these. The angles you're coming at me means you're doing some, so I think it's
he just said the same thing I did. He's like, yo, man, what's up with these questions, bro? You writing a book? He asked them about what is the reasoning and procedure and whys behind filing a grievance to the NFL when the refs make a mistake. The context being the Seattle game where I guess something happened where they thought that somebody spotted the ball that shouldn't have, or there was a fan whistle or something that caused movement on the line. I don't remember what it was. But he's gonna talk about it right here as far as, you know, the whys behind filing the grievance, even though, I mean, nothing can really be done about it, you know, in retro.
There's twofold in that whole process. One, you're communicating with the league to make sure that you understand the rules appropriately so that you can articulate it to your players. And two, you're trying to make them aware of something if they feel like it was inappropriately called or whatever. My memory serves me appropriately at this point because I can't remember what they said at this point, and I wouldn't want to, make enemies with the National Football League and just put them on blast at the podium. Like this serves nobody's purpose, but realistically, that is part of our weekly procedure. We do it with all things called or not called. That way I can best inform players to put them in position for success, not failure in the future, because you can't really, I'm not it's not my operating procedure to dwell. So
Yeah, it's kind of like
I think that's part of
complaining by
the
asking
league's
the
process
question.
that's very healthy because
Sort of like when you get onions on your burger and you didn't want them, and you know, you're saying, hey, you don't complain, you don't say, hey, what the hell is the onions doing on my burger? You say something like, you know, what would happen if me having an allergy toward onions were to eat this cheeseburger right now? You know, something like that. So why would I have ordered onions on my cheeseburger? You know, that's kind of what he's saying. You're asking the question to be able to also complain. Like, hey, why'd you do this? Is there something I need to inform my players? No, of course not. You're asking the why to say, hey, what the hell did you do this for?
you need to be able to move forward and give your players clarity. And I don't, we try not to leave anything in the hands of the officials, but you have to understand how to stay within the rules and what we should do in the event that something like a faulty whistle or inadvertent or a fan whistle does occur.
So he was referring
Right.
to an inadvertent fan whistle. So I don't even think he was talking about the whatever spot debacle everybody else was.
Well done, guys. Thanks for the patience. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for, I don't know. Thank you for thanking me for my patience. So that's McD today, this morning. Look, I think we're in the right frame of mind. We're in the right state right now. You know, that's what else do you want to do until the game starts? What else, you know? I mean, it's, you know, if you're carrying over from how things look Monday night. Now, keep in mind, everybody, the Raiders are coming over from Vegas. That's a long trip, couple time zones. But remember that we had to make the same trip back from Los Angeles, and we had to do it with a short week. So, you know, don't doubt the Raiders' ability to make things tough for us and even sneak one out. But we just can't. Look, if we play respectable ball and we execute the way we did Monday night, there should be no problem covering that 7 points. That's all there is to it. And we as fans should expect that. I don't think it's unfair at all for us to expect that. We're not the players. We're allowed to look forward. So we're going to do that today with the playoff machine. But first, you're going to hit the like button and you're going to hit the poll question. We're doing really bad on likes today, but it's only 3:00. I mean, I guess I should really start more at 3 because I tried to, and y'all are just still asleep at 2:00 and busy at your jobs. Everything ramps up right when you're trying to go home and you're sitting in that freaking melee of traffic. I understand. That's why we have Shake Money with the drive time this evening. Open panel, you can hear everybody argue with each other. And if anybody has an issue with me going full homer today and messing around with this playoff machine, okay, I'm sorry it bothers you. You know, I really am. I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not trying to tell you not to listen, but I'm about having fun on Friday. I mean, it's game week. It's all we have left. The money is spent. The Jello is in the fridge. Some people think it's jiggling. Okay, fine, but I want to watch it jiggle. That's right. That's what I said. Pause. I want to watch the Jello jiggle. I want to poke it and like let it watch it do funny things. You know what I mean? So that's what we're doing today. But we are going to listen to Anthony Weaver. You know, we might even let it go into what Frank Smith has to say. Because Frank Smith actually has some insightful things to say today. Believe it or not. I know it's hard for y'all to believe that. But I think the guy just, I don't know. I don't think he likes talking to the media. I don't think he's that type of guy, you know, to be honest with you. But I think the guy is insightful. I think he knows what he's doing. We might question what it is that he's responsible for doing. But all in all, we could have done worse with the guy coordinating our offense. Crossman has some interesting things to say
You'll have
too.
a lot of questions
I
about
don't
the great
want to
job
deal with
you do in the
Crossman today, to be honest with you. All right. The consummate professional, high-class individual, Anthony Weaver. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button and vote in the poll.
I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions about the great job you and the group did on Monday, but just to get one housekeeping thing out of the way, did David Long ask for his release, or did he express to you, Mike and Chris, that he would prefer to be in a place where he could play?
Yeah, I think that was just a team decision.
Oh, wait, what
Obviously,
am I doing
yeah.
here? Hold on, I gotta turn down the speed. This dude deserves to have going regular speed. What am I doing? You got to get the full power of the man's energy.
A tremendous amount of love and respect for Dave. He's a starting caliber NFL backer, and at this particular time, we know we chose to go with Walk. So it was probably the best move for just all parties involved. You know, it gives him a chance to continue his NFL.
Notice how he said we chose to go with Walker. So there was a competition going on. And then this other guy becomes available and instantly becomes part of that competition. Now, unfortunately for David Long, that guy has put down some good tape this year already out in Seattle. And as Coach says in a second here, running the same system. I looked up the guy, Tyrell Dodson, and the guy has run everywhere he's been. Buffalo, Seattle, both run 4.3s. We run a 4.3. It's a natural fit. And the guy has put up really good numbers. So, you know, but he's average here and there for other reasons, but numbers wise, he's been solid.
Career and go flourish elsewhere, but incredibly grateful for his time here for sure.
Did he ask for his release?
That I don't know. I mean, no, you'd have to talk to. That's above my pay grade.
With Tyrell Dodson, what do you think that he can add to this defense?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is that he has scheme familiarity coming from Seattle,
right there,
with the defense that Mike installed, and he's a playmaker, right? You've seen it on tape. He flies around, he hunts the football, and he can contribute on special teams too. So he introduced himself to the defense, and you could feel his energy and his passion. And anytime you got guys that have that on defense, those are the type of guys you're looking for.
Oh yeah, high motor. They call that high motor. And by the way, I just want to say, the man just said everything I told you yesterday, or the day before yesterday. Scheme familiarity. I mean, how many more things do I say that these coaches reiterate before you all realize I know what the hell I'm talking about?
What kind of chip on your shoulder do you get when you're waived as the leading tackler from another team?
I couldn't tell you. It's never happened to me. So, but anytime you get fired or released or cut from a job, I imagine you have a chip, right? That I don't care what profession you're in. So I imagine he wished Seattle was still on our schedule and we hadn't played them already. And that's usually when those things become most apparent.
With obviously going without Kendall Fuller now Sunday and perhaps beyond, has Cam done enough? This is kind of like what I asked you last week, but has Cam done enough where you say going into this game, he is our third corner with Cater and with Jalen, or have the struggles been such that you open up the competition and say we need a fresh look at Storm, Ethan, Saron Neal?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a struggle for Cam. I just think you're just going through some growing pains from a younger player. Who plays in place of Kendall, I think it's very much a competition. Prior to guys like Storm were hurt, Storm Duck was hurt, Cater Kohu was hurt, so Cam went out there and did an admirable job, right? Especially just considering how much practice time he had missed. So that competition, that position will certainly be up for grabs this week. We'll look how the guys compete throughout the week, and I expect him to be near the top because that's the type of guy that he is. He's going to go out there and give everything he has to earn that starting spot.
Coach, I have a question about Tampa 2 coverage. It seems like it's more prominent now than it has been in recent years after it was really popular in the early 2000s. Why do you think?
This is interesting right here. Travis Wingfield asks about the Tampa 2 and, how it really hasn't been prevalent since the early 2000s. And I just want to stop there because I have a question for Travis. Why was it so prevalent back then? And that's a rhetorical question I actually have an answer for. Because the passers of the league back then, post Dan Marino, because Dan Marino created a paradigm where all these big arm passers come through the league and start tearing it up. And by the early 2000s, the defenses were having to come up with the cover 2 shell. That's why it was prominent back then, because the passers were tearing up the league. Fast forward to, 2016, 17, 18, passers are starting to tear up the league again. And here we are. The defenses have answered. A lot of good offenses are turning around and have already answered. Some of them with a running game, some of them with various different ways of West Coast stuff to, go east and west. That's why you see a lot of the prominence of the West Coast in the league right now. So I just would just say to Travis, there's actually the question itself creates a question for the question. Why do you think it's so prominent, all of us? Or why was it prominent back then? It's for the same reasons.
Is that accurate? And why do you think it's more popular now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know from a number standpoint, where it is in the league. All you're ever trying to do is try to figure out conceptually what you're getting from a route standpoint and put as many bodies in those windows to try to dissuade those routes. So I think it's one.
He just said basically the same thing. He just said, look, you're only seeing this because this is what the offenses are doing to us. We're countering what the offenses are doing. We are defense.
One of those coverages where you can get to it from a variety of different ways. And sometimes when you're maneuvering the safeties and, showing the middle close and then all of a sudden it's open, showing 0, and then all of a sudden it's Tampa 2. There's a bunch of things you can do to essentially slow the quarterback's decision-making down a little bit when you can play Tampa variations, then mix it with some middle close zones and fire zones and things of that nature.
Exactly. And, on that note, statistically, it's bearing out when you see a large number more than half the teams in the league give up more than 100 yards a game on the ground. If you would have told me, even in the early 2000s, if you would have told me every every running back room is getting over 100 yards every game, I'd be like, you're nuts. back in the day, getting 100-yard game, the only people getting 100-yard games, even 3 or 4 of them a year, were the top echelon running backs. 1,000-yard season was gold, and there was 16 games. That means that 6 games they weren't getting 100 yards.
So Storm Duck was cleared, good to go according to the injury report, but then he was still inactive.
Mm-hmm.
Was that still maybe dealing with some remnants of the ankle issue?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where he's still very much trying to get confidence back in that ankle. But we see, from a competition standpoint, we see the same guy he's always been, right? He's going out there, he's working, trying to work through it. At that particular time, we just felt like with Cam, he's gotten a number of reps. He went out there and did, again, a very serviceable job versus Buffalo. So we felt confident with him going into that last game.
What pleased you most when you studied the film in a game in which you held the Rams without a touchdown?
I was just most pleased with just the collective effort of the group, right? Particularly a situation where we were at, right? You're sitting at 2-6. You had every opportunity to go across the country and feel bad for yourselves, but our guys didn't do that, right? They answered the call. They stuck together. They endured. And I think we went out there and had our best performance to date. So I applaud those guys, man. We have a bunch of grown.
Yeah, and now you just got to realize you got to keep that same energy. You got to realize that you're still in the same boat. 2-6, 3-6. What's the difference? You're still in the same boat.
Men who are willing to look adversity straight in the face and throw their best punch.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from a communication standpoint?
Yeah, I think it was, again,
ain't nobody going to call
on
the
all levels,
defense
it was
soft, that's for sure.
our best game to date. It obviously helps. You have some connectivity there with guys that have played a bunch of ball, right? With Cater Kohu coming back, Javon Holland, Zach Sealer. Outside of the players that they are, there's just so many cumulative reps that they've all played in meaningful games.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get those guys back, and it's a guy on every level, obviously that's going to help step up your communication too. So I think it was certainly our best game to date. We had very minimal errors, and the ones we did have really didn't hurt us.
Now, I understand we don't blame injuries, but how does that make your perception about how we performed against Buffalo now? I mean, we have to be realistic. I'm not talking about blaming injuries for the loss or excusing the loss. I'm saying, how does your, perception of us going forward with a healthy defense and making moves like we did with David Long and all that to keep shoring up our depth going forward to where maybe we won't miss a loss like Cater Kohu or, well, it's hard not to miss Zach Sealer, but you get my point. We're not excusing the loss through injuries. We're saying, how much better could we have performed? How much lower than 30 points could they have scored had X, Y, and Z been in the game? Well, we can see, just like we saw the difference Tua makes. Why can't we say we saw a difference that Zach Sealer, Cater Kohu, and the like make?
What do you think when you look at Brock Bowers for them and maybe ways to defend that tight end?
Oh, man, that guy, I tell you what. I don't want to slap Rookie of the Year on him yet, but he is an absolute force. He's a tight end. Sure, you could probably put him at tailback. You can play him anywhere you want. So
yep, and the trap part of this game is that a tight end having a game could literally beat you single-handedly. I mean, if a tight end is on his game on any given team, you got to watch out for that day. That's a rough day for anybody. I mean, look what Kansas City does to everybody. Granted, he's an upper echelon tight end, but my point is, like, a tight end having a good day could be it.
We certainly got to account for him the entire day, particularly in critical situations. You have to think that they're a guy that he's going to target. But what an incredible player, man. I look forward to just seeing the trajectory of career and where he goes.
Going back to Cater for a second, I noticed some reps where he was, peeling off into the deep half on some of your two high looks. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, what is the process for trying to decipher how much a player can put on their play? 'Cause he's played inside, played outside.
Yeah.
He's getting back some depth now. Like,
mm-hmm.
what goes into that process of deciding?
He's the best open field tackler on our team.
You guys can do that.
That's certainly something you're trying to figure out all throughout the offseason, right? We try to very much to, when we're installing to our players, we try to teach part to whole. So we don't just try to pigeonhole and say, like, you're just a nickel. We try to learn, like, here's a curl flat technique. Here's a seam to half technique. Here's a 3-hole.
Yeah, Koza, but at least I do it at 2 speed, at 2 times speed for your pleasure.
Technique, and we teach everybody the jobs, and then whoever can learn the bulk of those jobs and as many of them as they can retain, we're like, all right, this guy we can do a bunch with. Like, he can play all these techniques fairly well. So the more our guys understand the big picture of what we're trying to do conceptually, the more problems we can present to an offense, because we're able to morph, and they can't just say, like, that's the nickel, he always does this.
Right.
Jalen Ramsey, he's a corner, he's always does this. You have no idea where our guys are going to be, which I think is.
And that's the flexibility you have on the 4-man front when you're getting pressure every single down.
What makes it hard to play offense against us.
Would it be fair to say that this team is kind of sort of morphing into a defensive team?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. We have a tremendous amount of pride on our side of the ball. Obviously, and every time we go out there, we have a standard that we expect to live up to. We don't want people to score, but with the talent we have on the other side of the ball, we are very much a team. So to say that we're an offensive or defensive team, I don't.
Oh, you don't say, Coach. You don't say. Why is it that I take so much heat when I say that? But there's the best coach on our team saying it right out of his mouth.
I don't think that's fair at all. We're just trying to make sure we hold up our end of the bargain come game day.
Carry over the momentum from last week's, or I guess Monday, feels like forever ago, to next week.
Yeah, this league is about enduring and getting better, right? I talked to the guys about just having faith in the middle of the season, right? It's one of those. It's so long and it's so grueling that it exposes the frauds. And if you're not willing to push yourself and constantly get better throughout, then you'll have a failing season in the end. So while our record is,
what he's saying is works both ways. It exposes the frauds, but you know what? It also causes the cream to rise to the top. And so again, I'll ask the question: what happens if we find ourselves 6-6 coming out of Green Bay? It would tell us something about what we have morphed into, what we have changed into. It will tell us whether we're part of the cream rising to the top or whether we're part of the frauds getting exposed. Because if you put it together and come out of a 2-6 start in as part of the cream that's rising to the top, you're doing that because you're the cream. That's the point I keep trying to make. We all know what the end result is if we lose. We already know that. We've experienced it. We're experiencing it now. But to say that nothing's changed if we achieve the goal that we have in front of us, well, that's a fallacy, because in order to achieve that goal, you have to become the cream and rise to the top. It's a long season. It's grueling. You got to come back from Los Angeles on a short week to face the Raiders at 1 o'clock, who want to trap you, who want to spoil your season. They have the ability to. You got to go face a division opponent. Well, at least we get to face them at home. And then you got to go to a really crappy environment in Green Bay. And I'm sorry, if you're not the cream, you were never the cream. But if you come out of that run 6-6, all indications is that you were always that team, because now you're a 6-6 team. Remember, you are what your record says you are. Right now, we're 3-6. Are we a 3-6 team? Currently, yes, we are. Do we have to be a 3-6 team Monday? No. We could be a 4-6 team, masquerading as a 3-6 team. Or we could be a 3-7 team, masquerading as a 3-6 team. That's up to the players. And so if we come out of that run 6-6, that's what we'll be. I mean, it's that simple. There is no what are we really. What we are is 3-6. Now, Monday night, we played a lot better than that. And we know that our season is at, look, we had to make an 8-1 run. Well, guess what? We're 1-0. So if you want to look at it at half and half, then right now we're a 1-0 football team. That ain't much different or worse, better or worse than a 3-6 team, because you don't know if you're going to be a 2-0 team or are you going to be a 1-1 team. It's the same thing. You have to win. And if you win, you're there. You're the cream that rose to the top. Because there are teams right now that are 5-4 that are either going to be 6-4 Monday or they're going to be 5-5. If those teams end up 5-12, then they are the ones that got exposed as the frauds. Ain't nothing been exposed yet. Because the teams that have no shot already that are tanking, they weren't exposed as being frauds. They never said they were anything. The teams that are left, they can still recover their season or keep their season going, are the ones that said they were going to be something this year. Now we got to find out who the frauds are and who aren't. 3-6 don't determine that yet. And we're going to find out why when we pull up the playoff machine.
Certainly isn't what we want. I told the guys, like, if you thought we were a playoff team coming in the league and coming in the year, then raise your hand. I was like, well, the playoffs just started a little bit sooner for us. So we got some pieces
there
back.
You go.
We got our quarterback out there, and let's go on a run.
You've always been in the playoffs.
We're not overlooking the Raiders by any means. And right now, we have a very magnified focus on an opponent ahead.
Sean Elliott said that this team was soft last year. I know you weren't here.
Yeah.
Has that come up in meetings? Do you want your team to take that to heart or just kind of disregard it?
No, I know Deshaun. Obviously respect who he is as a player. I don't think any man that walks on that field and plays this game is soft. So I know the guys in that locker room. I know the passion and the physicality and the tenacity that they play with. So the fact that he feels that way, hey, God bless him. But we have an opportunity to go and, get rid of that, whatever, softness phrase or whatever the heck he wants to say. We have an opportunity every Sunday to change that.
That's right.
There is a
That's the only
different
time you can do
brand
it.
of football in the AFC North. I think everybody understands.
Because what is there to do in those towns? Going to go eat crab cakes?
Oh, this is funny right here. So Omar asked him about the AFC North and the competition level in the AFC North, and this little exchange here is quite funny and highly so much class in this dude.
Walks on that field and plays this game is soft. So I know the guys in that locker room. I know the passion and the physicality and the tenacity that they play with. So the fact that he feels that way, hey, God bless him. But we have an opportunity to go and, get rid of that, whatever, softness phrase or whatever the heck you wants to say. We have an opportunity every Sunday to change that.
There is a different brand of football in the AFC North. I think everybody understands.
Because what is there to do in those towns? Going to go eat crab cakes? Of course, like you're going to play football and go eat crab cakes. What else are you going to do? Of course, it's a different brand of football. I'm joking.
Why?
No, I'm never going to be welcome back to Baltimore again.
I like the crab cakes.
I do too. I got to be honest. I do. I love crab cakes.
Why is it different football in that division?
I think it probably starts with just the majority of the teams in that division. When you think about the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals, for the most part, they've had consistency, both from a head coaching standpoint and a front office standpoint. So how those teams have been built has been consistent for a number of decades now, right? The one exception in that division is the Browns, and they've had the issues they've had probably as a result. So I think that's probably the biggest reason that their style of play has been consistent. Now, if you had turnover in the front office and people came in with different philosophies, then maybe it changes. But when you have Ozzie Newsome and I forget who the new guy in Pittsburgh is, but yeah, and then you know Mike Tomlin's still there, obviously. Like they have very clear visions and philosophies of how they want their teams to be built, and I think that's the type of brand of football they're all looking to play.
What he's saying there is continuity is king. He's saying those teams in the AFC North are traditionally powerhouse teams because they don't change their coaches 100 times a year. They have a consistent philosophy of football that is unwavering for decades. And if you don't want to be a part of that, you're not here. Mike Tomlin has been there forever. You know, look how long John Harbaugh has already been with the Ravens. You know, you could argue Bengals, Browns, whatever, but they're getting it. They all want that same, they all have that same long-term continuity vision.
The player isn't doing exactly what you want from a scheme perspective, a technique perspective, an assignment perspective, or maybe they're on the verge of being benched or losing playing time. Mm-hmm. What approach do you take in the communication with guys who maybe aren't doing their best?
I think you do everything within your power first to coach and to teach, and try to find if one way is not working, where you're not getting through to them to get them to execute the job that you want them to do, you go through multiple facets to try to get that done. If you can't, that's when you start exploring other options to then make a change. So the one thing we're never going to do here is give up on a player. So we'll do everything, you know, within our abilities to try to get them to go out there and communicate and execute at a high level.
Quentin Bell got plenty of got an increase in defensive snaps, got the sack, of course. Mm-hmm. It seems like the snaps came at the expense of Tyus Bowser's a little bit. What led to the decisions on playing time on the edge?
Yeah, I don't know if it came out really at the expense of anybody. The plan going in was to roll those guys a little bit more, just because we all believe they had earned it. Right? They go out there and they've shown, they've shown it throughout the week of practice, particularly Q, Tyus, Agba, Chop. Right, all those guys, they push each other to get better, and I think collectively that room is getting better as a result. So, to have any of those guys just sitting on the bench, I think does a disservice to the team, particularly when you get to this point in the season. You want to make sure everybody's out there rolling.
Yeah. In other words, fans, quit making every decision punitive. You know, quit making everything like there has to be a reason behind everything. It's like just besides like, hey, these guys are playing well. How do we know the players didn't agree? Like, yo, get these guys in here this week. I mean, we as fans make it about everything besides what it really is. To Cosa Nostra's point earlier about the win or lose, the fans are going to bitch anyway. I mean, yeah, that's what he's saying right here. He's like, not everything is a punitive decision. You know, the guys needed some time because they were playing well. And obviously you could tell that they were, because they came through in the game.
getting reps so we can be fresh throughout this entire push.
Do you have to have a conversation with a guy who plays opposite Jalen Ramsey?
That's how you strengthen your depth, by the way.
You're going to be attached.
You get him in when you don't necessarily need
try to
to.
avoid Jalen.
I don't think that conversation needs to be had. The one thing that I know for sure is that if you're out there and you're playing in this league, you are an incredibly confident human being. And if you're not, that's usually when you're struggling. And we got to find a way to build that confidence back up. So I know every one of those guys that touch that field for us, they think that they're Superman, and they should, because they are the elite of the elite, and go out there and play with that same swag and confidence every day.
In terms of defensive backs who play the fifth and sixth most on Sunday, just to go back to that, the one thing I hadn't brought up was the scenario of Holland in the slot and May with Poyer. Is that something that you don't want to do in huge volume because you like what Javon gives you at safety and because Cater's so effective in the slot? Or is that a real consideration, those three for a ton of snaps together?
I think that's more just a matter of matchup, right? When you're trying to match up and potentially have a bigger body in the slot. You know, the thing with us is we can put Jalen there, who is a big body and isn't afraid to get his nose dirty in the run game. He'll fill a B gap. He can do all those jobs. And we feel the same way about Javon. So it's really about just matchups and, you know, who can we put on the outside? Do we feel comfortable with the matchup there if we move Jalen inside? And if we need Jalen on the outside, then it's like, all right, well, if we want to get bigger, then we're probably using a safety.
Could you put the role of Jalen into just into words? We see him moving all around.
Yeah.
What's sort of the mission statement is?
The mission statement going in every week when you're thinking about your players and particularly your impact players, and we have a bunch of them, right? But with him, you're always just trying to put him around where you think the football is going to be.
I was just about to say the same thing. And the mission for Jalen Ramsey is get the damn football however you got to. So as a coach, you're just going to make sure whatever you call that it gives you the best opportunity to have Jalen Ramsey within arm's reach of that football. That's exactly how he's about to answer the question.
You know, if you know they want to target a particular receiver, you try to put them there. If you know that they want to do something in protection wise, and you think you can get them a free run at the quarterback or in the backfield, you try to put them there. Just because you know, the more he can get around the ball, the more opportunities he has to make plays for your defense.
Well, it was like always when you're going through the process of the season.
Spot on, Coach. We're not going to get to Frank Smith today just because it's hard to follow up a guy like Anthony Weaver. I mean, the guy just knows football so well. I mean, what a great coach. He's got a great future, man. That's all I know. So now we're going to have some fun, everybody. As soon as you hit the like button, we're up to 33. That's terrible, man. Terrible. The poll question of the day after you hit the like button, 55 of you have voted already. Is it time to fan up? You going full homer? Are you an only fools? Or the tank needs some grease? 44% of you said it's time to go full homer. 25 of you said only fools. And 30 of you are still sitting in that rusty old tank begging for grease. So hit the like button. You might get some of it. In the meantime, I'm going to talk with the 44% for right now. By the way, go to TFTGnetwork.com and bookmark it. Make it your homepage. And you can find links to everything that is the Finn's Tailgate, including the shop, which I am currently working on a voiceover for our new commercial for it. But here's the gist of it. That's all you get, a sneak preview. I ain't going to play the whole thing. I got to get some words behind it. Culler fumbling the football. I got to get it going. I will be working on that this weekend to get that done. And in the meantime, go to TFTGnetwork.com and check out the shop. Also hit the like button. Donate to the channel. It's not, don't be afraid. We take money. We're not shy. Super chats, super stickers. You can cash app us, $sign the Fins tailgate. Hey, $sign ColorCom if you want to throw me a couple bones for a tip. If not, become a member. We got a few of you rolling in. Ryan AP, he's a member. He knows what's up. A few more of you joining us late. Black Sheep, how's it going? Nightshade Jones, been coming around lately. Omar Brown, how you doing? Day one, appreciate you. Thank you for the compliment. Shelby, how's it going? Yeah, I like that comment too, that it's never happened to him. He ain't never experienced being fired or demoted. What's up, semi-mad? Tribal Chief? Only semi-mad. Hopefully we'll make him less semi-mad Sunday against the Raiders. Louis Medina always throwing out the emojis. Mudbone, what's up, Mudbone? Haven't seen you in a couple days. Boxing Bill. Mansa Chill, what's up, man? Yeah, HB does a great job, Mansa. Appreciate the compliment. HB works all that together. He's been working on that for a while. So let's get this playoff machine on up here. It's going to be fun. Hopefully you can at least see the symbols. I don't know if I can blow this up any. Did that work? Yeah, I guess that worked. All right, here it is, the current playoff picture. Yeah, it's a little muggy today, Nightshade, but it's supposed to dry out by Sunday. All right, so we know we got the Eagles in Washington in the books. The Eagles taking the win last night. There's the current standings throughout the league. And, of course, here's the current seeding. In the NFC, you got Detroit in the number 1 spot, followed by Philadelphia, Atlanta, Arizona in the 4th seed, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Washington pulling it up with the 7th seed. Over in the AFC East, of course, you've got the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs in the number 1 spot, followed by the 8-2 Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 3rd seed at 7-2, Houston in the 4th, Baltimore in the 5th, Chargers in the 6th, and currently the Denver Broncos hold the 7th seed at 5-5. Dolphins are currently 3-6, as you all know. So we're going to go through the potentials here. So first, I'm going to go through and show you why. The biggest reason why, despite being 3-6 for any team that's below 500 right now, why this season is far from over, because as you can see, you've got a large number of teams below 500 in the AFC. Some of which expected to be contenders this year. A lot of which everybody knew was tanking. So here we're going to go through. We're going to answer that question, iDog. There's a couple different ways you could look at it when it comes to the Chargers and the Bengals. But so far, let's just go by. I'm going to run through and go by highly plausible to mid-level plausible outcomes and show you what happens, to show you why not only are the Dolphins not mathematically out, but we're actually in the thick of things, and we could even consider ourselves in the driver's seat right now for the 7th seed, if not higher. What did you say, Culler? What? That can't be possible. What?
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Well, I echo those sentiments, Coach. I hope we can win a game because that's all we need to do. So let's go ahead and do that for ourselves and give us the win this week against the Raiders. I'm going to run through the NFC real quick. Green Bay, Chicago. No, we'll go Green Bay. Don't really matter for our purposes. Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Don't matter for our purposes, so I'll just go with my favorite, Baltimore. Jags and Lions. Well, look, the Jags are just not going to stop against, certainly not going to be a trap by a team like the Lions. I mean, by the Jags. Don't matter anyway. Lions win. Seahawks, Niners. Niners look like they're back on track. We'll give them the win. Los Angeles, New England. That's a close one, but Los Angeles hadn't given up yet. We'll give them the win. We'll go Saints over Browns. Browns still can't get out of their own way with Jameis Winston. And the Saints are starting to feel good again. We'll go Dallas is terrible. We'll have the Texans beating them. Minnesota beats the Titans. So now we got Jets versus Colts. So let's do this by the odds. Right now, the Colts are 4-point underdogs. Plus 165 on the money line. Jets are minus 200. We'll give the Jets the win. Bengals and Chargers right now. Chargers are favored by 1.5. Minus 120 on the money line. Bengals are plus 100. That's a pick 'em. I personally don't believe in the Chargers over the Bengals. I think the Bengals, trying to win every game from here on out, have every bit of ability to beat the Chargers. They're 4-6. They've got to get to 5-6. We'll give the Bengals the win. Chiefs and Bills. Bills are actually favored by 2 at home. Minus 130 on the money line. Chiefs plus 110. I think the Bills get exposed. I think the Chiefs teach the whole league once again why they can find a way to win, and the Chiefs beat the Bills. This game really doesn't matter for our purposes, so I'm just picking the Chiefs anyway. Now, one of the important games here. Atlanta at Denver. This is a surprising matchup for me to see here because the Broncos are favored by 2 at home. They're minus 130 on the money line, but the Falcons are plus 110. And the over-under is 44. I don't understand that. I understand the Broncos have been playing better football. And they almost beat the Chiefs and all that. But let's not forget that was a divisional matchup. Okay. Number one. Number two, the Broncos have beat the Buccaneers. That's decent. The Jets, the Raiders, the Saints when they were down, and the Panthers. They've lost to the Seahawks, the Steelers, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Chiefs. Atlanta, on the other hand, has beat the Eagles, the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Buccaneers again, and the Cowboys. They've lost to the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Saints. They split with the Saints. Divisional opponent. So you have to look at pure matchups and things like Kirk Cousins versus Drake May and Sean Payton versus whoever they've got in Atlanta. I mean, this is a tough one, but I don't really see the Broncos' reason to be favored here. And they're only favored by 2 at home. So they're actually 1-point underdogs. This is a pick 'em. Yeah, I didn't mean Drake May. I'm sorry, Nightshade. Bo Nix. Even less accomplished. So I'm giving the win to the Falcons. And this right here is why I think the Bengals beat the Chargers, because the Bengals know that if the Falcons win, that it puts them into that 7th seed, as you can see. Look, if the Broncos win, they stay there. If the Falcons win, it puts the Bengals in that seed. And it moves the Falcons up 1 seed. So I got the Falcons winning that game. Besides, the Chargers don't lose any positioning. The Chargers actually have no incentive whatsoever to beat the Bengals. Like there's nothing changes. Now as we sit going into week 12, you have the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, the Texans, the Steelers, the Chargers, and the Bengals following it up in the 7th seed. Now by the way, all of that, I get everything I said about how this week turns out is completely plausible. And not even that crazy. You have 2 pick'ems, one with the Chargers and the Bengals, and you got the Falcons and the Broncos. Like, what I just said is completely plausible. It's plausible, possible. You could argue probable. So going into week 12, we've got the Dolphins and the Patriots. Again, predicated upon Miami continuing to execute the way we did Monday night, the way we're going to have to this week, there should be no reason we can't beat the Patriots. Without any other action being played, look what happens. Without any other action being played. Now, you're going to tell me that the Dolphins don't have any incentive to keep winning? They don't have any incentive to continue to show up and try to get better and play like they intend to continue to win. Because without any action, if we win this next 2 ball games, not one other game has to be played next week, and we're in the 7th seed. Now let's go through some of these games. We'll go through all the NFC ones. I'll take the Niners over the Packers. I'll take Cardinals over the Seahawks, Bucks over the Giants, Eagles over the Rams, Washington over Dallas. We'll take the Texans over the Titans. We'll take the Lions over the Colts. Because look what happens if the Colts win. Well, nothing. We don't even need the Colts to win next week. We need them to lose this week. Because look what happens if the Colts win this week and next week. They become the 7th seed. So you could argue we want to root for the Jets. But if they lose either one of those, then we got the 7th seed. So we don't have to root for the Jets this week. Because we're all happy with having to root for the Lions next week. So we'll switch those two out. Let the Jets lose this week. Let the Colts beat them. It don't matter. As long as the Lions take care of their business against the Colts next week. Then we got Minnesota over the Bears. Steelers over the Browns. Now, here's an important one. Well, by the way, we'll take the Chiefs over the Panthers. We got all the easy ones cleaned up. Okay. Baltimore versus at Los Angeles. Now, if I thought the Bengals would beat the Chargers this week, why would hell in the world would I think the Chargers could beat the Ravens next week? So we're giving the Ravens that win. Now, here's what it comes down to. I know I just got through saying we should beat the Raiders easily. That's true. And if we do, it's going to suck for them. Their season's pretty much done. They have no shot after that. I don't think they believe they have a shot anyway. But that being said, if they wanted to play spoiler, they certainly have the ability. You heard what Anthony Weaver said about their tight end. They got good pieces on defense, and they've been known to play divisional games pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, they beat the Chiefs last year with no incentive to whatsoever, with an interim head coach. We'll see what happens first if the Broncos just take care of business, because they're likely favored in that game heavily. You see what happens? Now, we can still survive that, but it won't be going into Green Bay that we'll know. Okay, so we'll give the Broncos the win, but let's just say the Raiders do pull it off. Then none of these games have to be played. Look what happens. It don't matter if the Broncos win or not. So you can plain as day see a very, very plausible scenario that has the Dolphins in the 7th seed before we ever take the field against Green Bay. predicated upon us winning our games and continuing to execute the way we have been. I don't know why that's considered homer or delusional. I think the people that are fighting against that narrative are the delusional ones. And I think they are so delusional in their own projection of hate that, to me, they're committing the biggest fallacy of it all. Hate watching. It's got to be the biggest fallacy of it all, to hate watch. Because if we get embarrassed by the Raiders, then we got embarrassed by the Raiders, which means, yeah, this becomes all foolish talk. Tell that to the bettors that have made the Raiders minus 300 on the money line. Tell that to the bettors that have made the Raiders 7-point underdogs. And I'm sorry, but at least 3 times last year alone, I told you all this, that, and the other needed to happen and could very well happen, and those things did happen. So I'm sorry. I've been watching this league far too long to think that this season is anywhere near over if we take care of business the next 2 weeks. And if we come out of Green Bay 6-6, that is a full indicator that what we've accomplished is real. How would it not be? If we're saying we're going to lose because we always do this, that, and the other, and we fix this or that or the other and win because of it, then what do you have left to say now? If we lose this week and it all comes crashing down, then how's that any different than any other day? I fail to see how that's any different than what we're used to and than what everybody's expecting. "41 of you now hit the like button. Hit a couple more likes. I'm about to wrap it up. That's really all I have for you today. I got some things to take care of before Shake Money goes tonight with the drive time. Open panel, everybody. Come say whatever you want about what I just said. I don't care. I'm going full homer today. I'm trying to have fun. So hit the like button and vote for the poll. Is it time to fan up? You go in full homer, only fools, or the tank needs grease? 65 of you have voted now. 20-something have broke the rule of hitting the like button before you vote. 42% are with me going full homer. 26% only fools, and 32% the tank needs grease. So that means 58% of you want the team to lose. Shame on you. Or think we won't win. Shame on you. Just absolute shame on you. And for that, and if you haven't paid for YouTube Premium, you get this. Anyway, for those that do pay for YouTube Premium that don't have to skip that ad, welcome this afternoon, and I appreciate you joining me. We got a bunch of you in chat coming in. Lewis, what's up, man? You voting Homer, Lou? I doubt it. I don't believe it. I want to see your ballot, man. No, actually, I do believe it. The way you've been the past couple of days, man. Hey, man, I threw the link in the group text if you got anything to say. I know you don't like going on the drive time and all that, the big time open panel and all that. I know it's taxing on the energy. But we just went through the playoff machine, and I showed everybody why it's not an outrageously implausible thing to think that we could be in real playoff contention before we even take the field in Green Bay. What's up, Shake Money? Member for 24 months using his free chat, member chat for the month. Free super chat. That's what you get for being a member. So the 24th super chat for Shake Money says, I got your back, Culler. Appreciate it, man, because, man, you handle that stuff way better than I do, man. I'll tell you that much. I can run one every once in a while. Ran one this week, and it wasn't too bad. Big Nick came up and argued with me for a minute, and we found out once again that we agree with each other. He just don't realize it. I appreciate that, Lewis. But it is what it is, you know. Do I believe any of this is going to happen? Do I believe we fix those issues that stop us from winning in the cold and all that? No, I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. You know, that's all there is to it. But there's no reason to say, oh, because this has been the traditional blah. This is how people use statistics incorrectly. They say, oh, because we haven't won in the cold in so many number of times that we can't do it. And that's where a statistic is being used incorrectly. You can do anything you want. I don't care if the last 10 times I ordered a pizza, I had pepperoni on it. Guess what? I might order the 11th without any pepperoni. I would not advise you to go bet on me ordering the 11th pizza with pepperoni on it. Because the statistics of me ordering it with pepperoni mean nothing as to what I choose to do the 11th time I order a pizza. I know, Pete. I'm trying. But hey, I wanted to mess around with the playoff machine. It's fun. That's the name of the show today. Playoffs X Machina. Machina, however you want to pronounce it. It's Latin for from the machine. So we just watched us go to the playoffs from the machine. We are the playoff contenders in the machine. The ghost playoff contenders, the spirits, the sports. Now it's just a matter of whether we're going to be a guest or a host in the playoffs. Someone please time out me. I don't know. Do we do timeouts for chat members? I didn't know if we ever did that. What's up, Lou? Appreciate you joining me. You didn't have to. I just letting you know you certainly have the floor.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Culler. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I'm actually, my voice is feeling great. I'm about 98% on my voice. The doctor visits to the rheumatologist have been keeping me low inflammation, and of course, the cannabis takes care of that too. So
Absolutely.
We're chilling today.
Yeah, you sound good today. So yeah.
Appreciate it.
But no, real quick, I just wanted to, because I've while listening, there were some people in the chat maybe giving you some pushback and stuff. And again, what I would ask those people that had a problem or pushback for what Culler was saying, why would you have, again, because even the poll kind of caught me weird. What you just did, Culler, that doesn't sound like homerism to me. What you did, and the key word what you said was plausible. Every scenario you said, it wasn't like you were just picking games so Miami could get into the playoffs.
Right.
You were.
I mean, I was, but I was trying to do it in a way that was plausible.
It was plausible and fair, right? You broke down the Colts and Jet games. You broke down what Vegas and the odds and this. Yeah, everything you said was plausible. 1,000% factual. Now, will it happen? That remains to be seen, right?
Probably not, but no different than if I put everything I said on a parlay. you know what I mean? I'm gonna one leg is gonna break my parlay. I'm sure.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right, exactly.
Now that doesn't mean I couldn't. If it's only a 4 or 5 leg parlay, I've been known to hit those. You know what I mean? Or let's say if you have a 6 leg parlay and you miss one leg, well, if that would have been a 5 leg parlay, you would have hit it.
You would have hit it 1,000%.
You know, so it's all about just look. We've been watching. You and I have been watching football for a long time. You even coach it. You have 2 sons in it, right? I mean, at least 2 that I've heard you speak of.
Right. Yep.
Probably you'll have a daughter kicking the football. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
You know, not that I'm wishing another one on you if that's not what you want to do, but you know what I mean?
Oh no, listen, I've already had the little snip. I'm done, man. 4 was enough.
Right there you go.
4 was enough.
There you go. 4, huh? Wow. And
Yeah,
so you've only had to talk about 2 to honor yourself, man. You know, look at that.
Yeah, two in college. My youngest son, he is gonna be he'll be 10 next year. In the beginning of next year, and then my daughter, my last one, she is 5.
So. Oh, all right. So by the time she's old enough, there'll already be like 5 or 6 females in the league.
Absolutely, 1,000. Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking kicker. She might be. Who knows? She might be a wide receiver by then or something. You know, like toe drag swag and all. You know.
Yeah, we teach them right down here.
Well, I've been watching that lingerie league lately, and them girls are starting to get rough, man.
They play, man. They play ball. Yeah. Sometimes it almost looks like the lingerie league. They allow more physicality than the NFL does. And sometimes
I'm telling you, them girls are, man, they're hitting. Anyway, so you know, it is what it is, man. Again, anybody that perceives me or that is projecting different outcomes for the Dolphins that's calling me a homer or perceives me to be a homer for going through all of that. I mean, look, I even went through and I said, you know what? Nah, the Broncos are going to take care of business. So-and-so is going to take, and we still, like, there's so many scenarios that are plausible where these other teams lose as long as we keep taking care of our own business. That even by so week 15, we're in that spot. Week 16, we're in that spot. Bottom line is everybody in this league right now that's in the situation we're in has to take care of their business. And it's going to be the team that does it that makes it.
Agreed 1,000%. Again, I think what you've done here today has been great. I agree with you 100%. I don't think you said bet this and this because this is going to happen. And I think you were fair in all your assessments. And I'll be honest, Culler, like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've said it multiple times, it happened today again in the space, and it was a conversation you were having with Mr. Negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when Mr. Negative tells you while I'm listening to the conversation, well, Culler, they haven't done this in this many years and the code and it. Okay, cool. That right there ends the conversation, Culler.
Exactly.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves, bro.
And I'm not even trying to be insulting to Mr. Negative. I'm simply saying there's nothing I can say to that.
Exactly. That's a conversation.
In other words, you won the argument. Like, if I can't say anything to that, you won. Okay, we're going to lose. You know?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying that to say this. Like, you do a show on YouTube. You have to keep conversations going. You can't just have conversation enders. And I wish more people would kind of like get that concept. Whether it's okay if you disagree and you give me reasons of why we're not going to win or what, but just don't tell me, well, we haven't won in the code in 10 years. So what makes, because that's not giving me a reason. That's just giving me your feeling.
Exactly.
Right?
Now exactly. And at the same time, I would hope, and we've seen some evidence of that the coaching staff is asking themselves or saying the same things. Why can we not win in the cold? What can we do to change that? Or are we just going to sit here and say, here comes the cold game. Oops. We know they're coming every year.
Well, I got, for people that have pushback, right? I got another way of why Miami should be winning, or you should have a good feeling about Miami's chances of winning. Did you listen? Did you watch Culler show when he just played the Anthony Weaver press conference?
Mhm.
If you don't feel like even listening to it, if you don't feel like getting up out of your damn seat and running through a wall for that man, I don't know what else. I don't know who you need to listen to.
From
Because
the first sentence I ever heard the man speak, I felt that way, bro.
bro, he's just direct. He answers questions. It's not this dancing around. It's not the
He puts
pausing.
it all
It's,
on your plate
he
for you to
gives you
deal with.
what you want. Exactly. And so there's a reason right there. His name is Anthony Weaver. And this is coming from a guy that I was just shitting on the defense last week. But no,
Mhm.
bro, I think this man and this team and the defense and everybody involved, I think they know what's in front of them. Now, again, will they do it? Who knows? But no, I think there's an acknowledgement that the whole building has, right? And I
Mhm.
just think if you can get to past this 2 home games, right? Raiders, Patriots, and you go in feeling good on a 3-game winning streak to Green Bay, to your point, what you were saying earlier, Culler, you go into Green Bay now and you come out of that 6-6, the sky's the limit for this team, bro.
Sure. Now, when somebody were to ask me, do I believe that we're going to be in that 7th seed before we take the field in Green Bay? That I could say yes, because of the fact that we only have 2 teams in front of us that are beatable teams, and the fact that the teams we need to lose have a very plausible chance to lose. Right? What's up, Jafango? How you doing? But when it comes to when I use words like if and given that and stuff like that, I'm trying to say, hey, if we leave Green Bay 6-6, it would be an indicator of X, Y, and Z. Do I believe we're going to be 6-6 leaving Green Bay? Well, first of all, we had to go on an 8-1 run. We're 1-0 in that run. Now we got to go on a 7-1 run. That one, I could easily believe being Green Bay. So I'm not like saying, oh, because of this and that, we're gonna beat Green Bay. I actually have us losing that game. I have that as the one that we can afford to lose. But I mean, if you could afford to lose any, But given that I think 10-7 would still get us in the dance, that would be the one game I would have accepted. Do I accept a poor performance? No. But I think we're going to know just what real possibilities, how much real stuff has been fixed by the time we're getting on the plane to come back to Miami from Green Bay. We will know just how much we have actually fixed.
I tend to agree with that. And if, let's say, they are 6-6 coming out of Green Bay, I'm going to I've been saying it too, but this is your show, so I'll give you your flowers because you've been saying it. It would come down to execution.
Mm-hmm.
If the Dolphins are 6-6, that means what Culler, myself, and others within the community have been telling you. Forget about all
The
the
coach.
coaching. Everybody from heads down, the general manager at that point, everybody within the building, Culler, will be executing.
No, I mean the coach has been saying what you and I have been saying as far as what the problem is.
Execution, absolutely, 1,000%.
Like everybody that knows ball has been saying that. That's the coincidence. You don't even you can give yourself the flowers too, Lewis, because it's not anything hard concept that I came up with. You know what I mean? Or you or anybody. The coach came up with that. Any good coach came up with that years ago. Because that's all it really is. It's a game. It's a mental game and a game of execution. That's all football is. That's why it's the perfect microcosm for life. That's why we all love it so much, is it not?
I agree. Oh, absolutely. I agree, bro.
You could be the
1000%.
smallest. Y'all ain't ever seen Lucas or what was that other Rudy or any of these other movies where it's like this, you know what I mean? It's all Wes Welker has to be like the Lucas of the entire NFL history. Like, really? What? That guy? Because he executes.
You know what, Culler? I'm gonna be honest. You know what gave me more hope than anything? And I'm gonna be honest, right? And this is a crazy conspiracy. I see Cap, right? So I'll throw my conspiracy out here.
I love conspiracies.
Well, here's one for your ass, Cap. When we were sitting at 2-6, the what was said, and I don't quote me on this. This is what I heard, right? No team has ever made the playoffs at 2-6 without winning the division, and there's only been 2 teams in league history to do it, right? Obviously, unless the Bills just absolutely collapse, because I do agree with Culler. I think this 4-game stretch is going to tell us a lot about Buffalo, but I don't think they're going to lose all 4. I'm going to throw out the conspiracy because every record set, it had to start somewhere. The 2024 Miami Dolphins will be the first team in NFL history to start a season 2-6, make the playoffs without winning the division. Now, that's a conspiracy theory for your ass.
Well, I'll second. I don't know how much of a conspiracy theory that is, but I'll second it with saying this. Let's not forget there's that third wild card team. So this was bound to happen. For it to stand as long as it has is still kind of amazing, right? But in a year in which the AFC seems to be middling and a lot dropped off compared to what it usually is versus the NFC, the AFC is behind the 8 ball, to say the least. What a more perfect year for a team to get in with like a 9-win record that had only 2 wins at the beginning of the year. But here's the thing that's interesting, right? It would be a flip of what we've known of this team. This team comes out with Mike McDaniel starting hot, but then they peter out because adjustments are made and they can't. Well, they came out not hot this year and are making adjustments early, and maybe it pays off and they get hot at the end. And I mean, listen, everybody knows, those teams that get hot at the end are the ones that are trouble in the playoffs, not the other way around.
Well, Cap, I mean, Mike McDaniel literally just said that in the press conference that, we needed to figure out this season, what this season has been about. Our goals has been about learning how to fix things during the season so that you're not set up for that failure at the end.
Yo, Lou, you seen this motherfucker in the chat right now, Von Joe? Von Joe been at the Diddy parties. That's all I know. Because every time Von Joe hears some stuff,
unbelievable, bro.
This is what his comments look like. And for those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, you're making a mistake. You need to come to YouTube, subscribe, like, and read, because I'm not reading it. But Von Joe been to the Diddy parties. That's the facts. That's what. Look, wow. I bet that's right there. I bet
I would agree.
That Abbey's right there. Hey, wait a second. Is that Puffy's fucking courtyard in Miami? I can't tell in that picture. It looked kind of like it.
It does look like it. That is a fact.
Wow.
Hey, can one of you gentlemen pull up Joe Rist's comment, his last comment? That's pretty interesting right there.
Joe Rist says Packers actually dropped 2 losses in the middle of their run to the playoffs after a 3-6 start last year.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I mean, look.
Yeah. I'm talking, when I talk 7-1 run, I'm talking about to be comfortable in this particular season. I mean, there's all kinds of mathematical scenarios that have us even 8-9 making it to the playoffs. You know what I mean? So I'm not, we don't even have to. This is what I'm glad you came up to make that point, Lewis, was that nothing I said was so implausible that we're at that level right now. I'm talking 10-7. I'm talking 10-7 to make sure we're there and to make sure we're probably respectable being there. That doesn't mean we still can't eat. We still can't fall in mathematically at 8 and 9 or whatever, given the way the league's been going.
Culler, I got the conspiracy. Conspiracy is that record doesn't get broken, and the Dolphins run the table, and the Bills in the final game of the year drop one that has the Dolphins overtaking them to win the division. They're the
Well,
conspiracy.
as I keep pointing out, and Lewis is fair to say that he doesn't think they'll lose all 4 of these next 4, and I agree. I don't think they will either. That's an epic collapse. You know what I mean? But given the competition, I wouldn't consider it an epic collapse simply because I don't believe in the Bills that way. So it wouldn't be that crazy a collapse to me. But again, I'll reiterate, they have the Chiefs, the Niners, the Rams, and the Lions all in a row. And they have to play those. All 3 of those are the 4:25 game, and one of them is a Sunday night game. So all prime time. And then they have to finish that out with 3 divisional games, 2 against the Patriots. So look, it is every bit as plausible. And this gets back to what I got sidetracked and I redirected myself. But to say, Lewis, you and Cap now too, we've all been watching football for a long time. We know that way crazier shit's happened than what I talked about today.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Again, if anyone wants reference to crazy shit happening, look no further than the year the Seahawks won their division with 8 wins and then started whipping people's asses in NFC playoffs. It was the craziest shit I've
even
ever
if you're
heard
talking
of.
about individual plays, that catch that Julian Edelman made in the Super Bowl, like we've seen way crazier shit happen in the NFL.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The collapse by the fucking Atlanta. That's crazier considering.
That's right. The 25-point collapse by the Falcons.
It felt like a 1,000,000-point collapse.
Yeah. It started snowballing.
Right. The other thing is we can point to our collapse last year as one of those epic, crazy things that happened.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because if you ask me, us going on an 8-1 run, okay, is not near as crazy as the way we ended last year.
I would agree. And I just want to be clear, Culler, on the 4 game for the Bills, right? I think they lose 3 out of those 4. The only game I got the Bills winning in that 4 game stretch is the Rams.
Yep, I'd agree. Possibly this week against the Chiefs, they are technically favored. But again, that game odds wise is the same as the Falcons and Broncos and the Bengals and Chargers, where the home team is favored by just a little bit, which means they're not really favored.
Yeah, home teams get 3 points. So if they're under 3 points, it's a pick 'em.
Right,
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So I have the Chiefs reminding everybody that they're the team that can get wins no matter what this week, and I have them beating the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a safe bet, but I would say the Bills usually beat them in the playoffs. I mean, more time than beat them in the regular season more time than they lose to them, but they lose to them every time in the playoffs. So there could be that parity we're repeating.
But then you've also got 3 divisional spoiler games to end the season.
Well, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of those the Patriots sneak one on their ass because they just don't show up. Some dumb freaking thing that the Patriots.
Well, who's to say the Jets aren't 5-7 and back to thinking they have a shot with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, if I had to pick 2 games with the Patriots or 1 with the Jets and who they were going to lose to, it would be that Jets game before both the Patriot games. But if we can count 1 loss out of those 3, however it may come, then there's just the remainder of their schedule where they have some games they're going to potentially suffer a loss to the Chiefs, maybe.
The downside is we actually have to have them. This is why it's really almost implausible that we would overtake them for the division, because they have to actually lose 5 because they hold the tiebreaker on us. So it does start to get into implausible territory for us to overtake them for the division,
But at the minimum, right?
Unless they go 0-7, and you know what I mean.
At the minimum, the Dolphins are trending up heading into the playoffs, while the Bills are trending down in the playoffs.
Or could be trending down.
Yeah, if that's the case,
Given
whether or not we overtake them.
last year's outcome, where they kind of only coasted and were able to take advantage of our collapse because the last part of their season was as garbage as the first part of our season. So, let's be real. Let's look at that real quick. They have beaten the Cardinals, us, the Jags, the Jets, the Titans, the Seahawks, and the Colts. They have lost. They've lost to the Ravens and the Texans.
Exactly, and that's the color. I made that point in the space earlier. You can make an argument that the 2024 Buffalo Bills is the same thing as the version of the 2023 Miami Dolphins.
And you could say we're them from last year, except they had a few more wins than we do at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's virtually the same. They're beating up on tomato cans. Is what they're beating up.
Well, there is this too, right? Like their defense is playing well, but their offense has gone a little vanilla. But they have the Josh Allen factor, and their second half adjustments are really good. If the other teams they're playing against second half adjustments trump what the Bills are, because the Bills have been kind of slow starting, heading in a lot of times trailing into halftime. We're talking some minor differences of the game flow where the Bills are finding themselves in a bad way.
Bro, last week Allen threw 2 interceptions. The Colts didn't capitalize.
No, I mean, yeah.
You don't think the Chiefs would?
Listen, that Colts loss hurts because that's a team we should have taken care of business of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was one we needed. Tua wasn't around, but man, oh man, should we have gotten that game? Arizona and the Bills, they are what they are right now. But look, this team's gotta put it together better. But who's to say they can't? In the realm of what we're saying right now,
and that goes to what I was trying to tell Mr. Negative, to Lewis's point. I don't disagree that so far we've shown we haven't, but that's all we can say is we haven't. We can't say we can't.
Yeah, we're not incapable of it.
Football is a continuum. It's not going anywhere. 30 years from now, I'm pretty sure we'll have a couple cold weather wins under our belt.
So one thing we can say for certain, right? The wins Miami got last year, right, and how they won games offensively. That is not none of the wins we have right now, which, I mean, it's only 3, but those 3 wins weren't because we were playing that type of offense. We weren't having that type of execution on offense. Now, the offense has had varying successes in all 3 of those wins, kind of being something different than what we had last year. If whatever this different thing is, and we could talk about it being more balanced, running, targeting the tight ends, Tua making
I think that
plays.
different thing is exactly what Mike McDaniel wants here, bro.
Well, that's what they need, right? If they can begin to make it click with these adjustments the way it was clicking last year, along with this defense and execution, not only that, then to me, that ultimately means they'll have the abilities they're trying to master this year, along with the abilities they had last year. In which case, when they get going in games, offensively, they're going to be deadly. They're going to be deadly. And so, with the way the defense is playing right now that could change, right? We could see injuries or schematics or some things, but right now, I got to be honest, Weaver is dialing up plays, making adjustments, and scheming up against opponents at a high quality level.
Right.
And I don't have any reason to believe that that's going to change. So all I need is this offense to click the way it had last year with these changes. And to me, that's a formidable football.
I guess if I were to sum up what I've been trying to say a little more succinctly about what I think this season's been about, possibly, is, Mike, we have spent games, we have suffered losses to make sure we know how to beat teams like the Packers in the cold and all that shit.
So
to me, it looks like, and I'm going out on a limb here, it looks like we have now acquired that skill. You see what I'm saying?
So you can train, you can acquire skills, you can hone your skills, you can prepare, you can study, but wisdom is only gained through failure. And if this team is getting wiser because of its failures and can adjust with the wisdom along with those other qualities, then you might really have something.
Well,
And
that's exactly what Mike McDaniel said today, El Capitan. What a coinkydink.
I didn't know. I wasn't able to catch that part. I was in a meeting, caught some of it, but that makes sense because to me,
Literally
like, look,
what he said.
here's the thing, right? We'll keep hope, and for those that want to be reserved on hope for this season, understandably so, right? I'm not trying to move you on putting yourself out there for failure. What I want people to have as Dolphin fans from this point further, and now that could change, right? But from this point on, is this team building something to be sustainable? Right?
Exactly.
Is this team defensively? I feel stable. Offensively, I didn't feel. I feel no more stable now than I did at the end of last season. Outside of, I'm seeing an implementing of something else. I know this team can run these quick timing routes and just dart up and down on people and move the ball. I do also know that when teams drop their linebackers and go into cover two, that shit is damn near taken away. So if they can now go and defeat deep linebackers in cover two, with other game plans and win outright with that, then now what do you do when you go against the Dolphins defensively? Okay, so you're gonna go into cover two and drop your linebackers on passing plays. Well, they're beating us with that. Now what do we do? Okay, well we'll bring down and bring guys back in the box. Okay, well now they're fucking catching you on man-to-man coverage on deep on the outside. You see what I'm saying? They're broadening their ability playbook, and they've learned the wisdom on what they need to get. That's why they change it. We're going through the growing pains of wisdom right now. Hopefully, I just hope that this offense, this coaching staff, Tua can stay healthy long enough. I hope these guys can hold it together enough.
All we
to
can
not
say
let
is
not let it slip
that's
through
what
their
it looks
fingers.
like. They still have to prove me right on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it looks like, and hopefully that's what's happening. But I can hope the most on that they hold it together long enough to not let it slip through their fingers, because it is a delicate moment with the fans, with the franchise, with ownership, with expectations, with people's jobs, with money spent. So I mean, and it could slip through their fingers, and everyone's on like, that's it. We got to blow this bitch up. But I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping it's just held on enough minimally to see where it could potentially become, rather than fucking, I don't want to fucking I'm just not interested in blowing it up. I don't think fans understand what that means. It doesn't mean get a new quarterback, people. It means a complete, it's like tearing down a field to plant corn. You got to fucking tear the field down, burn it to the ground, and just completely kill every freaking animal and bug and everything on it. Then you fertilize it. Then you build the corn. Like, it's a fucking process, and I'm just not interested in mutilating everything to build all over again. Just not yet, right? I'm about having to do it if it's got to be done. I'm just not there right now yet. Von Joe says scorched earth color.
I found it. What's that?
Von Joe said scorch the earth. So he's there. Some people are there.
So check this out real quick, Cap, since I have you up here. I of course I already went through it earlier. So hit the like button, everybody, and make sure you're watching the replay so you can get the full analysis. But this is the spot right here
where Mike McDaniel, what I said.
Yeah, and actually I also opened the show with it as my show open clip. But here we go real quick so you can we can hear it in context of our conversation.
That's been one of the great things about the adversity from this season is how instead of doing what a lot of people can and have done that I've seen in the past, where there's dwelling on numerical values that aren't W's and L's. I've seen guys get better. I've seen I think our line of scrimmage play from Tyreek and Waddle is the best that it's been since I've been here, in terms of releasing and using their footwork. And I think there's another level of understanding of the timing of our offense based upon the challenging looks they've gotten. And I think that
Right here.
overall it's forced our team to get better across the board, which I think is an overall win for our entire motives this offseason has been finding ways to get better during the season so that our best football is at the end when it matters most.
Boom.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like. I
is
got
that not exactly what you just said, bro? And what we've been
Kinda,
preaching here
right?
at the Fins tailgate.
Yeah, that's what we've been preaching here at the Fins tailgate. He obviously picked that up from us because we know how much he loves watching.
Well, we
that
know
stuff.
he's here.
I mean, we literally said, "Come on strong at the end of the year."
Not
That
only
is
is he here, right now, welcome McDaniel, Mike. But he also hit the like button. So follow his lead and hit the like button.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Habitual like button hitter on all the programs. He even does it on the other ones that he's not even watching, which we
yeah,
appreciate.
for sure.
So yeah, yes and no. I kind of liked how I expressed with the gaining of wisdom through failure. But he said similar things to that before too, with adversity and stuff, and adversity, opportunity, blah blah blah. But again, right? He looks like a guy. This team looks like a team that tripped and fell on its face and broke its nose, and yet they got up, picking themselves up and continuing forward. Listen, to me, again, you want to be tough. You're gonna take beating. You're gonna take scars. It's gonna growth and pain are synonymous. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna. You go to the gym.
I mean,
and
how would
don't-
you feel? How would you feel if you knew that? Let's say if we beat Green Bay, right? And it's like a cold, miserable day and all of that, and we exercise that demon and beat Green Bay. How would you feel about knowing that the whole beginning of this season was devoted to correcting that problem, and that's why it caused us to start 2-6? How would you feel about it then?
Color. Well, how about this scenario? Right? Dolphins come out this week, win at home. Raiders never really had a shot. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. Dolphins didn't like blow anybody's minds, right? But offensively they did well, defensively did well, and the Raiders were just no match because really that's the tale of a game week out.
Right.
Followed up again with against the Patriots, right? Dolphins offense being stymied by a stingy Patriots defense looking to do something, made them one-dimensional, got pressure. It's a low-scoring game, 15-10, something stupid, right? That the
That's what it was the last game.
yeah, kind of stupid like the last game, right? And yet they end up going to Green Bay and everything clicks. And they're firing on every cylinder on both sides of the ball in a snowy, cold Thursday night primetime game. The sentiment of who and what the Dolphins are is not argued at that point. It's
well, real quick. The way we beat Green Bay in particular is by running stuff that we obviously know that we got informed this season.
They've been working on the last
2-6 run. You know what I mean?
They've been working on the last 2 fucking months, right? And then they follow it up again after Green Bay and win. I don't even know the opponent, but they win by throwing the ball 38 times like they used to do. And
Right.
Tyreek Hill was sprinting all up and
then we
down the
go back-
motherfucking
And then
field.
we go back to running the ball all over San Fran or whatever.
Exactly, Culler. Now
You're feeling exactly what I'm putting down now, bro.
this is what it takes, ladies and gentlemen. Teams go and look at the tape. Go look at last week's tape because I'm not doing that to you.
And I'm starting to think, though, when it comes to Ross, that Mike McDaniel's seat is actually the coldest one in the league. That he's given full support to this, the way that McDaniel has wanted to handle these last 2 seasons.
Listen, I think Ross is on board for a 2025 of this. That could change in a blink of a fucking eye.
Well, we already got the 49ers in the bag. Because
I don't know about that, but okay.
According to the CB83, he's celebrating his pop's 70th birthday at the San Fran game. So don't think the Dolphins could give him a better gift than going undefeated and winning that damn game. That's poetic. A man can dream. That's right. That's poetic, CB83, and I'm rolling with it, bro. That's right. We got San Fran.
And happy birthday to Pops. God bless him. Hanging in there with the big dogs. That'll be great.
Bring it home for CB83's Pops, man.
Yeah, not CB, just his dad's.
Yeah, the real CB83.
Yeah,
the one that started it all.
CB83. That's it sounds like I'm giving the launch codes of some shit.
It's more like CA83.
So now listen. Again, blink of an eye, and like Jersey Dolphins says, nuke it all, center it on Tua. And really that will come down to where the nuke will be aimed, because that's what management wanted. That's what coaching was brought in for. And if Tua is a failure, minus concussions, right? Minus and unable to play because of concussions or physically unable to perform, and they give him some kind of whatever the fuck they do, right? Minus that scenario, failure and blaming Tua is a nuke that wipes everyone else out with it. That's the facts. And so, and that, listen, I hope everybody knows that is the possibility. That's what they need to know. But what I don't need is them to be stupid with the pressure, right? I don't feel like, don't be done with the pressures.
Well, first of all, thank you, Utah Fins fan coming over is from Twitter at the moment.
Oh, what up, Utah?
Shout out to him and everybody else over on Twitter. Head over, give us a like, follow Utah Fins fan example, who has already done that and several times. And if you're on Twitch or any other platform, come over to YouTube and give us a subscribe. We appreciate it. This is where the conversation's happening. And Lewis says crypto will be up soon to tell you all that you don't know shit. I know.
Nah, crypto ain't gonna tell me nothing. That's the facts.
Well, I can tell you what though, boy, he's gonna turn it up on the drive time tonight. I can tell you that much after I got out all of what I said.
You know what? Listen, if crypto wasn't in the building for that last win, I was gonna start blaming crypto for the losses. Goddamn. Just saying,
I think I might have heard crypto in the TV, man.
That would not surprise me.
I think on that third sack from Tua, I think that's when I heard crypto finally.
Honestly, I'm surprised crypto didn't hear us.
Get out of the pocket.
What the hell are you doing? Again, right? Two things are true in that sack. He obviously turned his back and backpedaled and didn't create enough distance early enough to get rid of the ball, and it was dumb.
Or get out of the pocket.
Honestly, I thought he should have got out of the pocket, left or right, whatever. But going backwards, I hate that. But right, luckily he didn't try to arm the ball out there, because that would have got picked off by somebody. So, in these small microcosms of how things were done wrong and right, I'll take the lesser of those two evils right there.
As Harris says, crypto is gonna say, don't ostracize the magnificence of the history of light. Damn it. That's great. Harris has been watching a long time, man. He knows crypto. Them photons gotta live too.
Crypto will love to throw around a 12-syllable word to show you up with a quick, just to make you have to. When he
Ain't
does
nothing
that,
faster. You can tell me about cheetah, penguin, all you want. Ain't nothing faster than a photon.
okay.
Oh man, yeah, he is. Tell him, Crypto. Tell him. Damn, now the crowd's ramping up, man. I really ought to just start these shows at 4:00, man.
No, 3:00 is the start time.
Yeah, 3. I started at 2 today. It
Listen,
dragged
Culler,
a little bit.
to
so
me, it's a 3:00 start time or it's a 10:00 sharp start time.
yeah, true. And I just ain't been able to do it in the morning
You
lately.
know, because really,
Killing me.
it's. Lou says check the Twitter DM. Color.
I might have to retire the coffee cup soon, dude, because I just don't know if I can make it at 10 anyway. It's like so rough, man.
Yeah, I mean, if it is what it is, right? I would just go at the 3:00 mark because then I feel like,
you ain't kidding, Lou. Oh my god.
I gotta check it out. Hold on.
Oh wow. We'll wait for.
Damn.
Yeah. So according to Ian Rappaport. Oh wait, I got to do this right. I rarely get to do this, man.
Oh yeah, do it, Color.
New for you. For all you hate watchers out there, according to Ian Rappaport, starting center Connor Williams, formerly with the Miami Dolphins, has decided to retire, per coach Mike McDaniel. Just 27 years old, Williams has started every game for Seattle after overcoming major knee injury from his time in Miami. So goodbye, Connor Williams, deciding to hang up the cleats at 27 years old and retiring out of the blue. Wow.
Yo, what is happening in Seattle right now, bro?
I'm telling you, word of mouth. What's up, man? Long time no see. Hope the fam is well. Man, them word of mouth is a year or two ago became a new parent, and so we've definitely seen the difference of frequency from word of mouth. It's having to
there's a
start rearing the family.
There's a delegation of energy shift.
Exactly.
Crypto would say.
Time management, they call that in the parenting world.
Yeah. It's sleepless in Seattle. Yeah, for real. What's going on in Seattle? I mean, they're waiving players like the guy we picked up. Why is Connor Williams, after starting every game, retiring?
And why all of a sudden are the Seahawks giving up on the season, man?
It's weird, right? I mean, I get it, right?
Couldn't they have done that when we played them? I mean, geez,
I'm
man.
saying, why didn't they start out like they're all of a sudden like we're pulling the tank? Did they think going in this year Geno Smith's gonna make noise? What the fuck was they thinking? No fucking way. No way, dude. I that's why I picked the Dolphins to work them. Granted, I didn't know Tua wasn't gonna be in that game, but it's just a weird scenario. They're like, yeah, they're remaining competitive. They're hovering around 500, and now they're pulling. There's obviously somebody they think they're gonna target in the draft, but a little too late for that at quarterback, don't you guys think? I mean,
iDog makes a great point.
Carolina's already talking about Cam Ward.
Well, iDog's making a great point. Can they send us Sam Howell to back up Tua?
I mean,
I mean, for real. It's weird. That just goes to show you how bad we really are losing to them. Jeez, man.
I mean, that was the thing, right? That's why it was very infuriating at the time. But now, more so in retrospect, considering they mid-season are pulling the plug. I mean, are they just going, wow, the NFC is way more competitive than it usually is, and we've got no business?
I guess so. But just really quick, I'm going to go ahead and give you all my entertainment purposes only lock of the week. This is a guaranteed lock, 2-bet parlay. Not too risky. I've got under 44.5 points in the Falcons Broncos game. And I've got Falcons to cover the -2 on the parlay. Totals plus 300. That's 3-1 odds. $5 to win 20 if you want. Culler's lock of the week for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not going to do any betting until game day, and I'll make some obscure 1:00 parlay and obscure 4:00 parlay. I gotta stop putting together every game. I gotta be a little bit more choicing because I'm just throwing it away every week now.
So I did a 4-bet round robin, which is a 6-bet parlay.
Yeah.
Where I only have to have a block of 4 hit to win something. But
Yeah.
if all 6 hit, I've got 60-1 odds. Or
That's
sorry,
for
I've
a
got
round robin.
600 I got 600-1 odds if all of them hit.
Yeah, that's what I
Right.
Just not 60, but yeah, I got what you meant. That's
Right.
pretty good for a round robin. Usually they destroy your fucking parlay.
Right. Well, so the 4-bet round robin includes, they're all money line bets and they're all underdogs. So it's an underdog round robin, 6 teams, 4-bet, Commanders to win, Colts to win, Falcons to win, Chiefs to win, Bengals to win, and the Raiders to win.
Sicilian, yes, we do see the Twitter comments. We do like you guys to come over to YouTube and subscribe and get it in over here where all the comments be at. But if you want to watch from there and comment, we do get them.
Yes, and thank you for commenting on that note. So obviously, something like the Raiders winning probably will bust it, but that's why I made it a 4-bet round robin so I could at least win something back. Because the rest of them, dude, like I can't imagine. Remember, I said this is an underdog parlay that includes the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Falcons. Like, that's the current state of the NFL, is that those 3 teams are actually underdogs this week against inferior teams because nobody knows what the hell is going on in the league right now and who's who. So you got the Chiefs at plus 115 this week. You got, the Falcons at plus one something. It's like, what is this? So if you want a really good 3-dog parlay, which I'll make my 3-dog night this week, you got the Falcons, Chiefs, and Bengals right there. That's a great 3-dog night. Put them on a parlay. Go to sleep. It'll hit. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not busted totally, CB83. It's a 4-bet round robin. So now it's only 5 possibilities. So you're right. You're right. I'm not going to get the full payout on that.
The Indianapolis Colts are plus 4 points. They're big time underdogs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That one I get it. That one, it's crazy that it's that high, given the way what the Jets got going on.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you believe in Aaron Rodgers, whatever, they're 2-7. Like, they're not. They're done. They've given no indication that they can even compete to turn that around.
I'm saying.
At least we've been showing that, we can compete. Yet they're 4-point favorites, minus 200 for the Jets. So I you could argue putting the Colts on that, but if I was to do that, I would do something like I'd take that plus 4 for the Colts and put that on a parlay with a bunch of spreads. You know what I mean? Maybe add a couple points to it. +6 on that Colts Jets is a really sweet spot to take the Colts if you have them on a parlay, because that'll put it at about -135 or so. And if you've got a bunch of other -135s on a parlay, you're looking good. You know what I mean?
I took a money line, of a pretty safe bet, 6-bet parlay.
Mm-hmm.
Ravens to beat the Steelers, Packers to beat the Bears, Lions to beat the Jags, Rams to beat the Patriots, Vikings to beat the Titans, and Dolphins to beat the Raiders. All
right.
Covered. But
Yeah, see, +6 for the Colts is -150 right now. So that's going on my parlay. I'm taking +6 on my parlay with the Colts at -150. That's leg one. Then you got let's see where's there another one that's like that? Rams and Patriots. That's kind of iffy. +4.5 for the Patriots.
yeah, I just took the straight up on those.
Mm-hmm.
+4.5 is pretty decent for the Patriots. It could be a closer game.
Now, given how the Raiders and Dolphins turned out last year, do you take the +7 on the Raiders? Maybe add 3 and make it +10?
I don't know, man. This offense gets clicking.
I know it'll destroy the parlay. Exactly.
It'll freaking demolish it. I can't.
3 plays could ruin that
That's
bet.
what we're talking about. We're talking about 3 busted plays by the Raiders defense, which could happen.
Right, but the second I take the -7 for Miami, we can't get out of our own way all day. You know what I mean?
I know.
Maybe I'll drop that, and I'll take Miami at. Let's see what we can get. Let's see where the -150 area is.
Shut up, dog. Fucking dog's bothering me.
So I can get -5.5. They would have to win by 6, and that would be -150. See, if they're going to win by 6, they're going to win by 7. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a game to stay away from, to be honest with you.
All right, so putting together another 5-bet. I'm going to round robin this, though.
Now, let's talk about, while you're doing that, let's talk about the Ravens and Steelers. This is an interesting one because the Steelers are getting plus odds, Cap, for +3. So I can easily make that +6 and still get great odds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have a feeling the Steelers are going to cover that +3 anyway, just like they did last week, just like they covered +2.5 last week when everybody doubted them. Shout out to FinSanity 5. That was she gave me the tip on that one. She took him at +3.5, and they covered for her too. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Or if I think the Ravens are just going to win outright, I could drop them to -2. We'll see what gets better odds. Ravens at -2 is -160, and the Steelers at +6 are -190. What about the Steelers winning by 3? That means I could have them cover +5 at -150. So I'm going to take Steelers +5 on the parlay, dude. So now I've got Steelers +5, Colts +6 so far. Vikings -6 on the Titans. Do you think they get their offensive problems fixed and blow through the Titans?
No. Maybe. So here's what I put, right? I'm going point totals. And I don't know. I got the over for the Browns and the Saints, and I know that's a risk, right? But I could see the Saints really putting it on them. Browns with Winston. I don't know. But really, that's the biggest gamble. I took the under 48.5 for Ravens Steelers. That seems, I don't want to say obvious. I know the Ravens are really putting up a lot of points, but AFC North divisional matchup, it's gonna be a dogfight one way or another. Colts Jets. I took the under on that 43.5. I took the under on Rams Patriots 43.5 and the over on the Vikings and Titans 39.5.
I think I'm gonna go with the Vikings -4 because the Titans at +10, which is what I would take on them, is -220. So I'm gonna take the -4, or no, I'll go -3.5. So a 4-point win can do it. You out?
Yeah, I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up. I'm just trying to.
What time does Shake go live?
What's that?
What time does Shake go live?
I'll have to check
7?
here. Let's see
It goes
what we
live
got.
at 7.
Let's see what we got it scheduled for. Scheduled for 7 p.m.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna be sliding through the panel and bodying these fools.
Yep, that'd be 5 o'clock Pacific, right when everybody's sitting on that crazy road in Los Angeles. That's like 20 lanes deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back. Gonna be back.
All right.
Michael K. I see you taking shots, but I guess you didn't know. But I won myself back, dog. Last week, I put it together and got it all. So you can play all you want. I'm back. I'm back. I'm in the black. Yeah. All right. So I'll catch you later.
Oh,
Colin.
who you got tonight?
Oh, who's playing tonight?
Tyson and Paul.
Dude. Well, simply put, Jake Paul will win. The only way Tyson could win is if it happens before the 3rd round bell. After that, it's not going to matter because it's fixed anyhow. And that will ultimately end with the last 2 rounds or so with Jake Paul keeping away from Mike Tyson, defending what he can and landing a shot that makes people go ooh, and it'll come to a decision that will go to Jake Paul. That's how it'll end. And Mike will have some theatrics about it because in round 1 he poured it on him. In round 2 he kind of poured it on him again, and people will remember, Mike Tyson punching the shit out of him a couple of times in the first 4 minutes of that fight, but the ultimate end of the tale will be Jake Paul won by pointing him out the last 3 rounds. That's
See, I think Tyson's going to win in a knockout.
Now that could be the only thing because it is a fix. All right, I just want to be clear. This is a fix. But if Tyson's demon is awoken and goes off script and just corkscrew fucking over that freaking right hook that he does that left hook to the body, then corkscrews the right hook over and just lights people's out, putting it right on their ear. If that happens, then yeah, he'll win by a knockout, but I just don't see that happening. I don't. Not that he's not capable. I don't think Mike Tyson is gonna allow that demon to be woken up in time to do anything with it. That's the fix. That's the fix.
Interesting.
Listen, verbatim, what I just said will play out tonight. Watch.
All right.
All right, Culler. I'll see you, buddy.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Later.
The great El Capitan, everybody. Hit the like button or he'll never come around again. And it'll all be your fault. 4 bet out of 6. times 6, 5 bet. We'll go with we'll make that a 5 bet. 4, 5. That ain't enough. There we go. Six. Nope. Don't want to do that. Sorry, everybody. I was just trying to figure something out real quick. We won't do none of that. We'll just make it straight. All right. So make sure you're hitting the poll one more time. We got 91 of you voted. Man, it'd be nice to get that to 109 of you in the last words, I have to say. 55 likes. We got over 50, so I ain't going to kill you too hard over it, but that's terrible. We got to get 100 likes every day, people. Come on, man. Anyway, poll question of the day. Is it time to fan up? If you think it's time to go full homer, if you think it's time to start an Only Fools site, or if you think the tank needs grease, get your vote in. 41% have said full homer, 33% said Only Fools, and 26% have said the tank needs grease. So that is 59% now say it's not time to fan up. No, fair enough. I mean, I know how you feel. So make sure you're hitting the like button. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. There's no more votes coming in. There it is. It's ended. 91 of you. We got 56 likes now, so thank you to whoever just hit it. You know how it works around here. Make sure you're donating to the channel. We're dying over here. Need to get some coffee in this cup. Super chats, super stickers, Cash App, Venmo. There are many ways to hit us with a donation, and it'd be all much appreciated. And if you can't do that, at the very least, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and and hit the notification bell. And we won't have to put bags over our head. Also, make sure you're going to TFTGnetwork.com to bookmark that page and make it your homepage. It is where you'll find links to everything that is the Finn's Tailgate, including our shop with all kinds of great gear. The latest being the Tua Infinity and Beyond shirt. They're flying off the shelves. Batman has already allegedly bought like 300 of them. So go ahead and get yours today. On that note, the playoffs machine says we got a real good shot still. No reason to quit playing football now, and there is plenty of it left to come. So keep them fins up, keep them peduncles down, and have a great evening. I'll see you all on the drive time. Fins up.